What happens for Thanksgiving?
Pascal, you are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good evening. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that, okay? We got some things we have got to get into, okay? I missed you guys yesterday, if I'm correct. Was busy, had a bunch of things to do, tried to get in at least one little short for you guys. You know what I mean? Just try to feed the machine as best as I could. But it's been a busy day, busy couple days, to be honest. But missed you guys. Glad to be here with you guys and talk to you guys about these things. And this is some very interesting stuff. We are on the way to getting some of this government shutdown things, like kind of shut off, like turn back on. The government's going to flip the switch on, but it's not happening anytime soon. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that are very concerned about some things because last I checked, yeah, we're nearing that Thanksgiving time, and don't know if it's going to be happening. I don't know if we're going to have everything turned on just in time for everything to kind of set back to normal. You know what I'm saying? But we'll talk about that here in a second. We got some things to get into, so please do me a favor. And this is something, if you didn't catch this is why I'm doing it right now, to give you guys this update. There's a couple of things that we're going to talk about throughout this show. And then, I have a show. I'm going to be on this most likely this evening to catch up on some things. There's some true crime stuff that we need to talk about as well. Depending on if nothing breaks, if there's no breaking news. There's a case that we need to do some updates on that I haven't gotten a chance to really talk to you guys about lately. So do me a favor, though, as we start to march into this show. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button. If you're watching on these other platforms, make sure you hit that reaction button. But, of course, don't forget to hit that follow button. Follow. All right? Don't forget to subscribe here on my YouTube channel. Go to my second channel and my third channel. The second channel is the Pascal Show Clips, and Pascal Raw is the third channel. Make sure you're subscribed to all three channels. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because pretty much it's random. All right, at least for right now. Okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon, and, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. Go check it out. Okay? If you get some time. All right? And, I do have a little bit of an update or something that I am trying to do. Okay? Which I forgot to put in the chat. Maybe somebody already talked about it. Probably not. But there is, which I'm going to pull this up right now so it can get tagged to the tippy top of the chat. Okay. But pinned to the top of the chat, okay, is, I am raising a little bit of money for basically a remote live rig. I can go anywhere in the world with it, cover certain types of stories, get on, boots on the ground, interview people, etc. And it's something that I really, really would love to be able to provide for you guys. It's a new dynamic to the show that I'm really looking forward to. And we are very close. We are less than $400 away from the actual goal. It's pretty damn amazing. To be exact, we are $340 away. Hold on, let me make sure I'm correct. Hold on. Where is it? Yep, $340 doll hairs away from making our goal. And I got to be honest, without you guys, thank you. First and foremost, we are like 86% away. Last I checked. Okay, 86% away. If you can contribute, that'd be greatly appreciated. It is pinned to the top of the chat. It's in the description box down below. The link is right there. So if you want to click on it, like I said, $2 helps, a buck helps, $5 helps. Shoot, $340 helps, gets me to my goal. So if you can, that'd be greatly appreciated. I know everybody's waiting on this whole situation with this whole government shutdown. I mean, even the people who are doing just fine and don't need the government funding or those SNAP benefits, everybody's still like holding on, right? Holding off and holding on. And I understand that. Okay. But any little bit does truly help. Hate to ask that. I'm not one to really be out here, asking for certain things like this, but if you can help, that would be amazing. Okay. Anyway, pinned at the top of the chat and in the description box down below. All right. And it says live stream rig, something like that. You'll see it. It's a GoFundMe link. It's there on either places. Okay. But anyway, we have got to get into this conversation. I just watched this press conference, okay, that we're about to look at here as a family. This just happened about 30 minutes ago, okay? About 30 minutes ago or so, all right? So I just want to make this abundantly clear. Before I put in my 2 cents, let's talk about this. As you already know, there has been a government shutdown. Shutdown is technically still going on right now as we speak. All right. We're 40 plus days into this. All right. Even at this point, Jesus Christ himself would have been like, come on, enough already. It's been over 40 days, man. Okay. Even Jesus Christ himself would sit there and say, what is going on, man? Okay. 40 days is enough. 40 days with this whole government shutdown is way too long, in my personal opinion. You got two sides that can't see eye to eye, can't find some sort of compromise, can't reach across the aisle and shake hands and just do whatever the hell they need to do to keep the bells and whistles ringing and whistling and ringing, or whatever the hell it is, ringing and whistling. Okay? Can't seem to figure things out. East side versus west side. They do not want to squash the mother-loving beef, which is crazy. All right? And no, we ain't talking about who's the best rapper. Okay? This isn't a Biggie versus Tupac situation. You'd think that everybody would be able to, you know what I'm saying? Just get along and realize that we need some things to figure out. And yes, Breezy, he did. Jesus Christ, passed out, what was it, like 4 loaves of bread? He fed hundreds with 4 loaves of bread and like 4 fish or something like that. 3 fish and 4 loaves of bread. I forgot the numbers. No disrespect, okay? It's been a minute since I've read that story, right? But a couple loaves of bread, couple of fish was able to feed hundreds, right? We for those of y'all who grew up with those kinds of stuff, those kinds of stories from the Bible, okay? You at least know that story, right? But after 40 plus days, still counting, in my personal opinion, okay? Still counting. Government is still shut down, okay? Government still shut down. Now, before we go into this, though, I do need to share with y'all this, okay? Because we need to know a little bit of like, hey, we just had Senate vote, right? Senate voted, and then hold on. The Senate voted. Let me get this right. Hold on, y'all, because I'm shooting from the hip here. I wasn't thinking of pulling this up. But honestly, we need to pull this up so that we know exactly what's going down, right? Okay. So there's some things that we need to talk about. The Senate did approve this bill to end the shutdown. But let me just remind you, the shutdown is not over yet. Some of y'all being like, yes, yes. So where are my SNAP benefits at, right? Some of y'all really like doing cartwheels right now. But wait, there's more. we don't know if this is going to fully pass through. Now, let me tell you this before you start thinking, before you start losing your minds and going, oh no, I got babies to feed. You know what I'm saying? Before you lose your minds about this, hold on. Let's calm down. I think for those of us, all of us that are out there, government, federally employed individuals, those that are waiting on those SNAP benefits and then some. Shoot. People who are trying to travel over the next couple weeks, which, by the way, I don't recommend. I say no. Don't do it, baby. Just do a road trip. Do a good old-fashioned road trip. Okay? Yes, I get it that trip might be a couple extra hours on you, and you might have to scream at your kids, basically saying, I swear to God, you ask me if we're there yet one more time. If you have to do that, listen. I'm sorry, but this is how the government's trying to, bump you up the a-hole. Okay? That's just how it is right now. And we need to just deal with it. So, like I said, you can't pay me to fly right now. And I'm not trying to knock anybody. I'm not trying to stop anybody from going out here flying. Okay? Go ahead. Fly like an eagle. America, because it's an eagle. Anyway, if you want to fly, go ahead, do your thing. Even when the shutdown is over, go ahead, do your thing. But there has been too many close calls. I just listened to that press conference. We're going to listen to it here in a second. And good golly, Miss Molly, they had over several, almost 3 digits of close calls since this whole shutdown has been going down. Almost 3 digits worth of planes almost colliding with each other since this government shutdown. And a lot of it's getting worse as the days go by. Why? Because people who have been working are not working. They're saying, I can't show up. I got to do DoorDash. I got a family to feed. Okay? Yeah. We're going to hear this in the press conference here in a little bit. I promise you, you're going to want to stick around for this press conference. There's a lot that's being said here. And they're saying that there could very well be, if they don't get this shutdown done soon, man, they're saying that this could be absolutely chaotic. Even starting as soon as this week, the end of this week, it could get even worse. Because you got to remember all these kids that are about to get off on fall break. They're taking their little vacay from school, getting done with their midterms, packing up their little bag and flying out to their homes to see Mama and Pawpaw. Real talk. And it's only going to get worse. All these people, there's millions and millions of people that are still stranded in places that they're trying to leave from. People are stranded. And they can't pay an extra $100, several $100 to $1,000 to get onto a last-minute flight to fly somewhere else, which, by the way, that's not their problem. That's the airline's problem. And the airlines should be paying and giving those people free tickets as soon as possible for the next flight. That's what they should be doing. Not families trying to pay extra money to get onto another plane that they shouldn't have had to pay for. Real talk. Should not have had to pay for. But there are people out there that do not have that financial privilege, do not have that financial, are not, blessed with that kind of money. Some people are just rubbing 2 cents together, hoping that they get to point A to point B, all the way back to point A without having to stretch their dollar even more. And now you got people stranded in various areas because their planes keep on getting delayed or canceled and keep on getting moved around, y'all. And then they go, oh, darn, you're going to have to buy another ticket. Lo siento. And then they go try to find a ticket that's going to be the very next flight out that mug, only to find out that they have to drop $1,200, $1,500, sometimes $2,000 just to get on a rinky-dink flight that's most likely going to charge you for having a carry-on. Won't even give you they don't even give you warm nuts no more. You know what I'm saying? Don't even ask you if you want chicken or fish. You want chicken or fish? You don't even get that no more either. You get pretzels and room temperature soda. That's what you get. And a seat that's this tiny. Seriously, you don't even get warm nuts no more. I'm not trying to be funny. That's facts. That's facts, baby. But here's what happened. We just saw it a couple days ago on Sunday night, late Sunday night. The Senate came in at the last minute and decided, you know what? Enough's enough. Enough's enough. We need to save our people. Think about all those starving children that are out there. We need to take care of them right now, I say. Let's go in here and vote. Let's figure it out. Democrats, which completely dropped the ball. What in the F was that all about? Okay. Them out here saying, we're not going to back down. We're not going to surrender. No surrender. 40 days later, let's work out a deal with them. Forget all that stuff that we were doing. Let's just go ahead and, you know what? Republicans, we'll open up the government as long as you promise we'll talk about that Affordable Care Act. Yeah? Yeah, you promise? But you promise? And Republicans are like, yeah, we promise, with their fingers crossed behind their back. Absolutely, we promise. And that's just them saying that. They're saying, yeah, we got you. No worries. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I got a weird thing. It's a weird condition. One in the world, and that's me, that has that weird condition that suddenly my fingers just like the cross whenever I make a promise. I'm so sorry. It's a rare condition that I got. Okay, my bad. But yeah, we got you, bro. Don't worry about a thing. Didn't even have it on the bill. Wasn't even mentioned on the mother loving agreement at all, by the way. Wasn't even on the mother loving bill. They just said, we'll talk about it later. Sign those papers, though. Go ahead, right there. Right there. Put your John Hancock right there. But we'll talk about it. No problem. So they decided to do it. But here's the thing. We ain't done yet. We still have to hear from the House. The House still has to pass this bill as well. They have to come in and actually approve of this message. Let's take a listen to this.
As you know, the Senate did pass legislation on Monday to reopen the government, bringing the longest shutdown in history closer to an end, as a small group of Democrats ratified a deal with Republicans despite searing criticism from within their party. The 41-day shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which have been on recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on that legislation. And then throughout this morning, we have been asking you at home to submit your questions and what you would like to know about the government funding bill that was just passed. Joining us now to discuss this even further and to answer your questions at home is Karen Holt. She is a political science professor at Virginia Tech. Karen, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so I just want to hop right to it, bringing up this on the screen. So this is basically the question that we pose to our viewers. What questions do you have about the government funding bill? And remember that you can still submit questions while we have Karen live on the show here by scanning the QR code there on the top. First question, pretty straightforward.
There we go.
What happens next?
That's a wonderful question. And the simple answer is it's still a mixed bag, because once a bill passes the U.S. Senate, then it goes next to the U.S. House. And so the House has been on recess, as you indicated. Getting those House members back to Washington, D.C. is a next step. And then once they get back to Washington, then they have to decide whether to support the Senate bill or not.
Okay. So one thing, first things first. First things first. I want to make this abundantly clear. All of them have to be in town to make this vote. All of them have been on basically a 40-day vacation. You realize that, right? The entire House. We're talking about Dems. We're talking about reps. Okay? the reppies and the demis, they all been on vacation within the House of Representatives. They all have to come back into town to make that vote. They all have to be in the same place at the same time to vote in whether or not they are going to, approve this particular bill, and then have that sent up all the way up to the man, the myth, the legend, DJT, right? Got to go up to the president. And he is the final boss. And if he agrees with it, then he signs it, and then the government will be back open again. But here's the reason why there's a little bit of a delay on the House doing things. They're all everywhere. They're scattered across the country, if not the world. Some people are, I'm sure, on vacations. They're going, wait a second. We get a 40-day vacation? Ha! Ha! Say less, I'm gone. You know what I mean? You got a mother-loving Turks and Caicos, I'm sure, and another one at Lake Titicaca, just chilling like a mug, okay? Just drinking hot cocoa and kicking up their feet and not having to worry about a damn thing, okay? So all of them have to fly back into town. They got to drag their sleepy asses back into the House to vote on this thing. And that's if everybody agrees. That's if majority rules in, yes, reopen this government. That depends. And then also, it depends on if this bill is chassis enough for Trump. Does this make him lick his chops? Does this bill and this agreement make him salivate and make him know that the win is officially coming? We don't know. First things first, though, House got to say okay. Well, second things second in this situation, because first things first is the Senate, and then it's the House of Reps, right? So now the reps have to show up, and they got to be okay with this as well. Now, here's the question. Will they all be down for it? We don't know. I'm sure it will. Okay? I'm sure it will be passed. But then after that, it has to go to Trump. So again, all of them have to get into town. So I'm sure they are all. Here's the other part that's really sad about this whole thing is because they all got to come into town. Now, unless they're flying on like private jets, they got their PJs, so that they get that privilege to fly on PJs and stuff. A lot of them still have to travel by air. Because the title that I'm talking about is some of these people might just be stuck. So this might be a little while. Might take a day or two for them to come into town to make that vote actually happen. But apparently they're saying starting tomorrow, they're supposed to be trickling in and making those votes happen. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm sure they all have all private jets. You know what I mean? All PJs. Okay, that's the fancy way of saying private jet, just so you know. Okay. And I'm not a man of financial privilege. I just heard that through the grapevine. You say PJ, okay? You want to go on my PJ? That shows that you got money, okay? You know what you're talking about, okay? And it's not like a single engine Cessna. We talking about like the real deal, private jets, okay? Yeah. So just so you know, they have to show up, and then they got to vote out. The question still remains. Are they going to vote for the shutdown to be over? Then after that, it's got to get into the hands of Trump. That will most likely be the next day, Thursday. So if he says, cool, we good, uses his auto pen. I'm kidding. I know that's sensitive. I'm kidding. But he has to sign. He has to say, yes, we good, bet, pass it on. Then Friday would mean the first day of the government being back open again. That's if everything goes down to what that timeline I just gave you goes down. So they take all day tomorrow to do their voting. They pass the bill, or they give the thumbs up, voting it to a yay. They got to pass that over to Trump. He's got to go through it. He doesn't read much, but at the same time, he got to go through it. And then he's got to give it the thumbs up. And then it looks like as soon as he signs those papers, Friday. Friday, everything turns back on, but that still doesn't change anything in regards to what's going on with air travel. Air travel's mucked up right now, guys. Absolutely mucked the F up. If they do not come to an agreement before the end of this week, I'm going to repeat this again. That means if the House of Reps do not show up tomorrow and finish their voting, Friday, they're screwed. Friday, they're screwed. He said, we're going to hear it in this press conference. He said himself that they will most likely have to have airlines be grounded. Certain airlines, the Deltas and the American Airlines and the JetBlues, even the Frontiers, and yes, even the Spiritses. Some of these airlines would have to be grounded if they don't come to an agreement and have everything up and running by Friday. You're going to hear from the horse's mouth here in just a minute, but this is absolutely insane. And I'm telling you right now, don't even waste your time trying to fly. You want to know why I say this? Hold on. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to let him talk, but let me just say this really quick. Let me remind you, they have to do a whole lot of catch up. As soon as Friday happens, which I hope it does, okay, yes, it doesn't answer the things that I was hoping that would be answered and figured out for, when it comes to what the Democrats were holding out for. The fact that they caved is absolutely insane to me. It's insane to me, okay? We'll talk about that after this press conference, that part after the press conference. But as soon as things get turned back on, they still have to do catch up. There's still people who are stranded in areas that, there are people that haven't been able to go back home yet. Real talk. There are people at Chicago O'Hare, which is where this press conference is being held. They haven't even left Chicago yet. People are stuck there. And they don't know how to get back home right now because airline tickets are out the a-hole. Insanely expensive. Or they just don't have a plane chartered to fly those people out, which is insane to me as well. Okay? Which makes no sense at all. Okay? So, as soon as all that gets turned back on, they got to make sure every single person that they screwed over gets a flight back to wherever they were trying to get to. You realize that, right? All that backup, they got to do catching up. Then on top of that, this is right before the first wave of true holiday travel. That Thanksgiving time, turkey time, baby. Everybody wants to get themselves some turkey, some collard greens. I mean, maybe you might be coming from like a traditional white household that doesn't have greens, okay? But for those of y'all who do have them greens, you're looking forward to those greens, okay? All right? Sweet potato pies and those pumpkin pies depends on what kind of Thanksgiving dinner you're going to, because black people have the sweet potato, white people have the pumpkin pie. Either way, they good, okay? But you might not be able to do that. You might have to hold and throw down your own mother-loving Thanksgiving dinner, okay? Because they are still going to be screwed over until the Thanksgiving holidays wave is over. You understand that, right? So this is going to be bad. Understand that. It's going to be bad. So without further ado, let's let Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy lay it down, and he lays it down pretty crazy. Take a listen.
There's a lot of Thanksgiving travel. What's going to happen during that time frame? I'm going to tell you, we are not going to get to Thanksgiving. You're going to see this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The big disruption thus far, massively more disruption as we come into the weekend if the government doesn't open.
You heard that right? Massive chaos. Like I said in the title, massive problems, massive delays, massive cancellations, massive plane airlines companies being grounded if it continues through Friday. I'm hoping that won't be the case, but they still got a whole lot of catching up going on. As soon as they turn on these damn lights inside the government buildings,
it is going to radically slow down. So the House has to do its work. And by the way, I'm very hopeful. It seems like they're in a good mood to come in and vote to open the government. And again, I hope they do that. We're going to take your questions in a moment, but I do want to let you hear from our acting ATO, head of our air traffic controllers, to talk about what he's seen. Then we'll come back and we'll take some of your questions. So, Frank.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Secretary. But before I say anything else, I do want to thank the men and the women, the air traffic controllers, our supervisors, our technicians, our individuals that work at our FAA JTOC and Command Center who have kept this system running over unprecedented times, under unsure times of when the next paycheck's going to come and how they're going to make ends meet. And through it all, they kept everyone at this airport safe, as well as all the airports around the country. Mr. Secretary, I also want to thank you for visiting these facilities, spending time with our controllers and our technicians and our managers to understand the problem and to hear from them firsthand. I can't tell you how much it means to them to have a boss come and listen to that and listen to them and how we're going to get past this shutdown. From the Air Traffic Organization, we're extremely hopeful that we are on the eve of the shutdown. And the reason why I'm saying that is this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, witnessed 3 of the highest staffing trigger numbers out of the 4 that we've had on record during this shutdown. Out of these whole entire days, we've seen 3 staffing triggers, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, that severely impacted the operation. Normally, what we will do is we'll put in ground delay programs that you'll see your flights being delayed. That's a normal protocol. This past weekend saw us put in airspace flow programs where we had to slow the entire country down, which forced massive cancellations and delays. This is not sustainable for our air traffic controllers, for our technicians, and for the American public. For our controllers who are working and worried about what's going to happen to them, rest assured, when the shutdown's over, they will be made whole, and they'll be made whole within a week. What's really important for us is getting back to business. And what I mean by that is Thanksgiving is coming up. This is the time where everybody comes and connects with their loved ones. This is the time where air traffic controllers and technicians say, it's go time. It's go time for us. We want the shutdown to be over. We want our controllers back on the boards doing what they do best, which is separating traffic and keeping everyone safe. We look forward to getting back to business once this shutdown is over and ensuring that we once again hold true to what we promised to everyone in this room and across the country. We got you, we'll keep you safe, and rest assured we'll get through this together. Mr. Secretary.
Thank you. I want to thank Frank as well. He's done a masterful job at the FAA navigating this crisis for us. A couple points, and I'll take your questions. As we come into Thanksgiving, this is the Super Bowl of air traffic controlling, right? It's massive movement of Americans. And again, this shutdown is going to get us to a place where we can get controllers back in our facilities controlling the airspace. I want to bring up one issue that I'll take your questions. You saw on Friday, no, on Saturday, we reduced our flights by 4%. So 4% of commercial aviation had to be canceled. Now, some have claimed that this was based on politics. This was based on pressure. And I would just tell you that this information to do this reduction in flights by 4% on Saturday, it came from the safety office. The safety office made the recommendation, they elevated it, and we implemented it. And I'd also note on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, the cancellations in the airspace were higher than 4%, right? So some might argue we didn't cancel enough flights. Today, we increased it by another 2%. So we're at 6% of cancellations of flights in the airspace. Some have asked, when are you going to start rolling those back? The answer to that is this has all been data-based. We've seen incursions on runways. We've seen loss of separation in the airspace, and we've seen heightened complaints by pilots of the communication they're having with air traffic controllers. When this information goes in the wrong direction, we have to make decisions to keep people safe.
You heard the laundry list of issues that they're having right now, right? The laundry list of issues right now. And I know a lot of people are asking this too. Really quick, little side note, okay? A little sidebar. All right. When it comes to the SNAP benefits, there are people that are still waiting. There are states that are still waiting. Not everybody's gotten it. Okay. Some states have done partial payouts. Some have not done it at all. Just so you know. So, someone asked something about, like somebody just said in the chat, oh yeah, I saw food stamps. I saw food stamps. Okay. You might have been one of those lucky people. But there are a lot of other people that still have not received anything yet at all. And some states haven't even given it out at all as well. Okay. Just so you know. So again, this is all very crazy stuff nonetheless. And then of course, not only just that, you think about think about shipping for food, etc. Let's not forget shipping for gifts if you're doing anything for this holiday season, so on and so forth. If it continues like this, everything's going to get screwed over. Okay. And then prices for certain things are going to skyrocket because now it's going to be a scarcity, right? Now it's going to be something like a supply and demand type situation where things are going to get more expensive. You can't go on Temu and just buy something random anymore. It's going to be like, dang, I thought this thing was supposed to be $30. Now I got to pay a whole $50 for it to get here. Are you out your rabbit ass mind? So again, some people are getting like Indiana just said this. Indiana Funny Farm said, I got the whole 198. Well, that's great. There are some people that have not gotten it at all. That's what I mean by partial. Partially, some people they have partially paid people out in full, but not everybody. You see what I'm saying? So some people have gotten it and some people have not. So again, and that could be the same state that you're living in. You know what I mean? If you happen to live in Indiana, you might be one of the half of the people that got it. You see what I'm saying? Out of your state. If you're in Missouri may not have given it out at all. Illinois may have given out partial. California, partial. You see what I'm saying? So every state is operating a little differently right now. Okay. So just so you know. All right. But let's continue. And yes, I agree. I think in general, Indiana, you know what I mean? You just have to learn how to budget, period. You just need to learn how to budget in general and not splurge, I just think that's something that we all need to do, period. But let's continue. All right. And then, also, this is the crazy thing too. Before we continue, they even said that the Trump administration was actually reaching out. This is a crazy part. And this is true. This is a true story that apparently the Trump administration reached out to those states and were like the ones that they gave out partial SNAP benefits to people. Allegedly, he turned to them and said, hey, to those states that we gave you partial payment, actually give it back. Take that money back from those people. And of course, those states said, hell to the no, are you out your damn mind? No, we're not doing anything like that. Okay? So just so you know, they even went and tried to retrieve the money back, even though that money had already been given to the people. Then also on top of that, those people that actually received the benefits, you don't think that they ran to the supermarket and got the things that they needed to feed their kids? I'm sure all that money was done as soon as they received it. Just saying. I'm just letting you know that is something that people were talking about, which is absolutely insane. But let's continue.
You all saw it with the DCA air crash. The last administration didn't see the 85 near misses that happened in that airspace. They didn't take action. They didn't look at the data. So we are going to look at the data and make the best decisions possible to keep the traveling public safe. That's what we've done. When that data changes, we're going to start taking down from 6, maybe we'll go to 4, 2, and get back to normal air travel. But I want to just clarify what we've done and why we've done it with the reduction of flights. And by the way, I think that by having a system-wide reduction where people and airlines can think through the cancellations, that's far safer than seeing hotspots around the country in random cancellations and delays. It leaves airplanes stuck at certain airports. It leaves crews stuck in other locations. It's way harder to manage. So we think this was the best approach to reduce the risk in the system and improve safety. So with that, happy to take your questions. Yes.
Secretary Duffy, thanks so much for coming to Chicago. Thank you.
I'm Alex Capriello with News Nation. You talked about loss of separation, essentially
Aircrafts in the sky getting too close for comfort. Can you expand a little bit about what the data shows, how close maybe some of these aircrafts are getting to each other? And then if this were to, God forbid, end in disaster, what you could say the DOT and the FAA is doing to prevent an aircraft fatality or something that really would be catastrophic?
So we didn't have near misses, but we did see the incursions of those separation requirements. Right? When you have that, that's a sign of more risk in the system, which was one of the factors we looked at when we made this decision. Listen, you could walk outside. I can't guarantee your safety. You get in your car. I can't guarantee safety, but I have to look at the risk in this system, and then we have to make decisions based on that risk and based on that pressure. And that's what we've done here. And again, it's been a lot of conversations, a lot of analysis, and making the best decisions we can possible with the information we have, the controllers we have. But to be clear, we are concerned about people having flights delayed and having their flights canceled. That's a problem. But that is a secondary problem to safety. Safety is the number one issue. I want you to get safely to where you're flying. That is issue number one.
And a quick follow-up, sir. Can you give us a timeline of what it might look like when the government does reopen to get things back to normal for the flying public and for the airports all across the country?
Great question. So we're going to wait to see the data on our end before we take out the restrictions in travel. That 6% we have in place right now. But it depends on controllers coming back to work. Today's a good sign. We had 4 staffing triggers today. On Saturday, there were 81. I think Sunday was 53. So real issues in the last 3 days, but today looks better. And the House does their work tomorrow. I think we're well on our way to getting to more normal air travel, less delays and less cancellations. Yes?
Hi, Miranda Davis, Bloomberg News. Earlier you mentioned that if the House does not vote or if the government does not reopen, there would be massive disruptions this weekend. Can you quantify that in terms of like a percentage of flights canceled?
So I can't quantify, but in my conversations with the airlines and with the FAA and what we're seeing with air traffic controllers, we feel there are going to be significant issues in the airspace. To quantify it, I don't have a crystal ball for you, but I can tell you what we're seeing with all of our equities, there will be real disruption. Oh, I think it's going to be more than 10%. And I think we might find airlines that have to make decisions. Do they keep flying? If this doesn't open, you might have airlines that say, we're going to ground our planes. We're not going to fly anymore. That's how serious this is. Yes?
Hi, Secretary Duffy. Casey Cronus with Fox 32. Can you respond to President Trump recommending a $10,000 bonus for air traffic controllers that have come to work during the shutdown? And then second, how do you plan to fill that gap of 2,000 air traffic controllers that you will need to when this is all done?
Yeah, listen, President Trump, brilliant. Listen, the air traffic controllers who didn't miss a day, they came for every scheduled shift that they had. They should get a bonus. Now, I don't know how many they're going to be. We have to do that analysis. But I'm aligned with the president. We are going to pay them a bonus, and it'll be $10,000 $1,000, depending on how many we have, they should come to the White House, and he should present them with their checks. They're patriots. We are grateful to them for the work that they've done.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I understand. Like, I get it, why they would want to do something like that. Like, hey, for those of y'all who stuck out and were there and doing a job and they're patriots and all that. Okay, I get it. All right. But there's another side. There are people out there that literally worked trying their best to have and maintain that job, but they also had things that they had to do. Like pay bills, take care of their kids, feed their families, other types of financial responsibilities. I mean, you can't just suddenly say those people who were in dire need of making money that they should be punished. You see what I'm saying? Like, even Trump said, for those that left, that called in sick or went to go and get another job, they should be doxxed. They should be not doxxed, but they should be like their pay should be doctored or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't agree with that. I don't. You don't know what these people are particularly going through, and you mean to tell me that they're those people who are just going to sit there and docked? Thank you, docked, not doxed, but docked. Don't dox anybody, okay? But yes, that their pay would get docked, right? And I think that's ridiculous. Those people, you don't know what their financial situation is. You don't know what their financial responsibility is. Everybody pays. Obviously, everybody works beyond their means for the most part. Okay, everybody, from what they say, the average American is one paycheck away from bankruptcy, basically. If you look at and you put all those things in consideration, and they're not making the money that they usually make by doing their job here for air traffic control and for transportation, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to do everything they can to make sure that their kids are being fed, their families are taken care of, and those bills are paid, and that they don't get kicked out of their house and home. So I don't agree with that. I will say those who did stick around, sure, give them that. But the people who left so that they can pay their bills, their bill getting docked, it's already going to get docked, though, if you really think about it. It's not like they're getting paid for the times that they weren't there. So I just don't agree with that. But yeah, if you want to keep, for those who stuck around and held it down so that planes weren't colliding in the middle of the air, by all means, go for it. Give them that bonus. You know what I mean? Do it. They deserve it. I think so too. But at the end of the day, you can't sit there and go, sorry, we're only going to pay you half of what you were supposed to pay because, you got desperate and you went and got a DoorDashing gig while this whole situation was going down. Tisk, tisk. Shame on you. Forget, that your kids need clothes or they need food on the table or, their tuition, let's just say, is due. Health, your child care, your babysitter, the nanny, you think that all that stuff is just going to sit around and go, no, I understand the shutdown. It's okay. I'll continue working for free. What? People are not going to do that. They're not. They're just not. It's a reality.
How do I make up the 2,000? So I was doing two things. I'm supercharging our air traffic control school, our academy, getting more young people to come in. From the time they apply to the time they get into the academy, I've truncated that. I'm paying them a bonus to come to the academy. We've kept paying the students at the academy a stipend to make sure the academy is still operational. We've done all those things. But we've seen that young people have been less willing to be air traffic controllers when they see they may not be paid. That's a problem. But the second part of what we've done is
fair enough.
We have air traffic controllers who can retire after 25 years of service. I've asked, and they're the most experienced in the airspace. I said, would you please stay on? Please don't retire. I'll give you a 20% upfront cash bonus if you don't retire and you stay on the job. And what we've seen in the course of this shutdown is a far greater majority of those controllers that I thought were going to stay are now retiring. So it makes my problem more difficult. It's more challenging. but we are going to get the Academy fully operational to get as many controllers into the airspace as possible to make up that differential. Yes?
Thank you. Kind of the opposite. The president's also talked about penalizing some of these air traffic controllers who took sick time. So can you talk about what that plan would look like there?
Well, my concern is for those air traffic controllers who, before they missed a paycheck and we were in the shutdown, they decided on a continual basis not to show up for work. They don't know how long the shutdown was going to be. They hadn't missed a pay period, and they didn't come to work. I'm concerned about those controllers. I'm concerned about their dedication. I'm concerned about their patriotism. And so we haven't made a decision, but we are going to look at those controllers who continually made the decision not to show up for work. And again, we have to look at the data. I would just tell you, I'm trying to bring more air traffic controllers in. I'm not trying to take air traffic controllers out. But if we have controllers who systemically weren't doing their job, we will take action. Yes?
Hi there, Maddie with CBS News. I wanted to ask how quickly will the air traffic controllers get paid once the government reopens?
So how quickly will air traffic controllers get paid? So they'll be paid within 24 to 48 hours of the government opening. They'll get 70% of their back pay in that time frame, and then after, the remainder will be made up. I think it's about a week they'll get the remainder of the pay. So very quickly they're going to get money in their bank accounts. By the way,
So in other words, the government shutdown needs to not be shut down anymore, basically.
Kudos to the Congress for doing this. It's important we get them paid very quickly. By the way, we talk about air traffic controllers. We have technicians in our towers that keep our very, very old equipment operational. They've been coming to work to make sure our equipment works. They've been moving without pay. We have a wide swath of people who are focused on safety. It might be trains, it might be certifying aircraft that have all come to work without pay. We talk about the air traffic controllers today because it impacts people's lives, but a lot of people have gone through long work weeks, haven't got paid. I'm grateful they're going to hopefully get paid if the House does their work. Yes?
Hello, Secretary Duffy. Brona with WGN here in Chicago. You talked a lot about the cancellations and the delays, and I believe there are restrictions in place for the private jets as well. Did you fly here today on a private plane?
If you could re-ask your question, I couldn't hear you over the loudspeaker.
You talked a lot about delays and the cancellations of the commercial flights, and I believe there are restrictions in place for private planes as well. Did you fly here today on a private plane?
Did I fly here on a private? I wish. By the way, had I flown on a private plane, I would not have landed here at O'Hare because we have restrictions at LAX, Seattle, Denver, O'Hare, Boston, Newark, JFK, Atlanta, Dallas. You can't fly a private aircraft into those airports, the top 12. With some small exceptions to that rule, you can't fly in a private aircraft. So no one's flying in here. But for those small exceptions, we've reduced private jet travel or general aviation by 10%, as well as if there are delays in the system, cancellations in the system, we've also put in restrictions that say commercial aircraft take a priority. The private jet travel would have to go to a different airport. So we are prioritizing the commercial traveler, the people who are coming through this airport. No, I flew in on American Airlines from Wausau, Wisconsin today. I flew on Delta last night from DC. So no, I'm a commercial flyer. Thank you.
Just as a quick follow-up to that, I believe there are, I think I saw a figure of 1,700 plus private jets taking off yesterday alone around the country. What do you say to the people here who've been stranded for days in Chicago alone, who maybe don't have the means to fork over hundreds or thousands of dollars to do so?
So listen, I'm not at war with private jets. If there's an airport that doesn't have shutdowns and delays and it's not one of my top airports, and they want to fly their private jets out of there, that's fine. Or you want to fly your little Cessna out of there, that's fine too. I'm concerned about the airports that have the major disruption, right? So I'm not at war with anybody in aviation. I'm just trying to efficiently and effectively navigate the restrictions that we've had with air traffic controllers and make sure that commercial aviation is traveling well throughout the system, which would make sense. I think that's what anyone would do. Yes?
Hey, Patrick with NBC5 Chicago. So just to clarify, you said if the government doesn't reopen, we could see more than 10% delays, and some airlines might even ground planes. Have you talked to airlines about that, or what are you basing that off of?
I'm going to tell you that in the information that I have, you have significant disruption where you may find airlines that stop flying. Full stop. And what we see with our air traffic controllers, good day today, if the House doesn't pass this bill, I think you're going to look at Saturday, Sunday, and Monday as tiddlywinks. It was beautiful. It's going.
He said tiddlywinks. Oh my God. Yes, but he's saying, hey, there's going to be small potatoes in comparison to what's going to be happening at the top of next week if they don't pass this agreement by this Friday.
Going to get much worse than that. And we had talked about, and I had even mentioned, I think it would come at Thanksgiving. I don't think that's the case right now. I think it comes well before Thanksgiving. I think we would see that significant disruption coming this next weekend, maybe as early as Friday. And I think you're going to have airlines that make serious calculations about whether they continue to fly. Full stop. I'll do one more question, then I got to run.
Yikes.
Yikes. Steps to getting them that technology.
New technology for air traffic controllers. So I need $31.5 billion to do this build. The big, beautiful bill gave me $12.5 billion. So we're in the process of picking an integrator. No offense, Frank. The FAA does a great job at safety. They don't know how to build. So we're going to have an outside company manage the build. We're going to have radios, voice switches, new radar, new telecom. We have to switch from analog to digital. By the way, that's somewhat complicated to do that, especially while we keep the airspace operational. That's what we have the money for right now. I'm hopeful that the Congress is going to give me the rest of the money. This is bipartisan, by the way. Republicans and Democrats agree we need the money. When I get the rest of those dollars, we are going to work on what's called a common automation platform, basically the software that's going to run our airspace. It has to be brand new, but it has to be developed, debugged, and then deployed. So that's going to take us longer than I think the 3-year period that we're on right now. And then the air traffic controllers, they need brand new equipment. You've seen the paper strips they use for flights. We're trying to move this to digital flight strips. Again, it's great 1985, 1993 equipment. It's a blast from the past, but we should live today and technology from today. And I would just tell you, what we're doing isn't easy. And because it isn't easy, no one else has done it. Everyone else has passed it off. And Frank and I and Brian Bedford, but most importantly, President Trump has said, actually deliver for the American people, fix this system. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. And by the way, I've talked about what this shutdown does for air traffic controllers. That's real. But it hasn't done that for this mission to modernize the airspace. We were given the money in the big, beautiful bill, so we had it in our coffers at the FAA. So that process has continued to move forward, which I'm grateful for. So that has not been delayed, though the air traffic controller issue is going to be a problem that we're going to deal with into the future. By the way, Chicago's been, at least today, running well. Love the air traffic controllers. I hope they get my flight out on time today. I put a good word in for myself. I'm kidding. But again, I fly to here quite a bit as well. I want to thank you for coming out and covering the story. Our mission, again, keep people safe. Keep people safe and do whatever we have to, no matter what the political noise is, to make sure that objective is accomplished. With that, thank you very much.
So yeah, y'all. It can turn. This is going to turn into a potential cluster F if it continues the way it is right now. Remember, the Senate has to pass, or the Senate already said A-OK. The Senate said yes. We agree on this particular bill. We're going to table everything until January. And then, you never know. We might be back to a whole other government shutdown all over again in January. Nothing's guaranteed. Okay. But this agreement or this bill is to just, I think, get them through the holiday time, because let's be real. You got a lot of American people, a lot of American families that are hungry, that are going to be starving on Thanksgiving, of all things, starving during the holidays. And then you got, of course, air traffic control, or, air travel turning into an absolute cluster F right now. And they believe that it's only going to get worse. You just heard it from him. You just heard from Sean Duffy himself saying that this is going to be even worse if it continues going the way it's been going. Now, here's the thing. Just because they lift the veil, okay, the shutdown veil off of the government and turn everything on does not automatically mean that travel is going to be back to what it was. They still have to do a bunch of catch up. There are still people that are grounded. There are still people that have not been able to fly. There are people who are still trying to make their connecting flights right now as we speak. And also at the same time, that doesn't mean that Trump, even if the House says, yes, we're cool with this, sign it away, right? Does not mean that Trump is going to be okay with it. Now, there's rumors that are saying that he don't want to see it happen, but I have not seen anything about that myself personally. I've not seen anything like that. But nonetheless, there are people that are very concerned and very nervous about this situation. Now, I just Googled, again, just trying to remember how many people are, how many representatives, as far as Democrats and Republicans. Now, here's the thing. House of Reps, they have 219 Republicans and 213 Democrats. So I feel like it's going to be safe to say that they are going to sign, it's going to be a yay to pass this bill. And then this bill is going to go up to Trump, and then it's going to be up to Trump to be like, yep, we're good. Sign it away. And then the doors to everything will open back up without any issues. But there is no guarantee of that. Okay? Yeah, the likes of MTG, the likes of some other Republicans may not be down for it as well. Let's not forget that. Okay? Let's not forget that. But that does not mean, well, I'm trying to pull this up again. That does not mean, like, she may not be okay. You got 219 Republicans, 213 Democrats, right? So that's a difference of 6. All right. There's, I guess, vacancies are 3. So you got 435 in total as far as the seats. Okay. Now, it would have to literally be like 5 of them would have to be on the side of nay. You see what I'm saying? And then that's also depending on if the Democrats are in their feelings about how Fetterman and other senators sided with the Republicans on this particular, as far as the Senates go. Let's not forget that. You had a handful of senators, Democrat senators, go on the side of this whole bill, which there were a lot of other Democrat senators that were like, hell no, this is not at all what we wanted. Okay? We did not want this to happen. We want us to get back into the room and duke it out so that there is affordable care, health care for every American citizen out there. And of course, they all said it's not for the Democrats. It's for everybody. It doesn't matter. It's for everyone. Good health care, affordable health care for everybody, not these premiums going straight through the roof, etc. Okay? Now, that's one of the reasons why they had the government shutdown in the first doggone place. But what's wild is that conversation isn't even in the bill. You realize that's just dumb, right? Now, I like, here it is. However you see this whole thing, okay? You can still see from the other side of the fence, like if somebody did a dumb move. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm bringing up, I'm throwing in a UFC conversation, okay? It's like, not UFC, it's a boxing conversation, okay? It's like Jake Paul fighting Tyron Woodley, right? And say you're on the side of Tyron Woodley. You want to see Tyron Woodley just clean his clock, right? But then there's a moment when you see Jake Paul knock him the F out. Even though you're not on Team Jake, you still look at that situation and go, oh, that's where he done messed up. Tyron he messed that up bad. Tyron, damn, you messed that up, right? You can even be on the side of, yeah, he did that. Yeah, he knocked him out. He did. Doesn't matter if you're on his side or not. Truth is truth. Facts is facts. And to me, this whole situation where they're sitting there going, hey, we're not backing down. I won't back down. You know what I mean? Hell no. We won't go. We won't resist. We won't step down. And then out of nowhere, they go, yeah, we're going to step down for a little bit, because they promised, not on paper, but they verbally promised to my face that they are going to talk about it later. You know that's dumb, right? Even the ones that are doing cartwheels like, yeah, the Republicans won again. You can still look at that and go, yeah, that was dumb. Democrats just done messed that up, and they truly caved in. The hell is wrong with you? Just like you're watching a boxing match, you know what I mean? You're hoping like, bop, 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 you know what I mean? You want your fighter to win, but then he loses, and you're like, damn, well, yeah, he put his guard down like this, and gagoosh, his whole face is on the floor. He did that though. Jake Paul just done, yeah, he knocked him the F. Wow. Tyron Woodley. What the hell? You see what I'm saying? You can still see the mess up. You can still see the moment where you're like, okay, I'm not for the guy, but yeah, I can see where that's not good. It's not good. Okay? In this particular situation, not good. Not good. They've been doing all these press conferences and all that. Schumer out here being like, we're not backing down. We're no effing way. He even cursed on the mic, y'all. And then now it's like, yeah, we gonna make it happen. We're gonna have these 7 other senators do it, because, you know, they ain't coming back. You know, they done after this. So they're not going to feel the full backlash of this situation. So we should just let them do that. Be the people to turn this whole place back on. Not the ones that are coming back, trying to get reelected and all that stuff here soon. You know? It's just crazy. Honestly, this is just crazy. And I don't know what the F happened. But don't get me wrong. I get it. We don't want kids to starve. We don't want families to starve. We don't want people out here working on the free 9s and 9s if they don't have to. Okay? The people who are working out here for the free 9s and 9s, there's already enough of them. And those people are called freelancers. Okay? And that's it. You know what I'm saying? The free 9s and 9s, there's already enough of them. Not the people who are telling planes how to take off and land, you know, and all these other important government jobs that aren't getting paid right now. It's not how we do things. But at the same time, though, man, this is weak. It's weak sauce. It is weak freaking sauce. Now, I do want to pull up a few things here. Okay? Because here's the thing. Apparently, some may say that according to the BBC, they're saying that there could be some obstacles involved in the House voting on the U.S. shutdown ending. Shall we take a gander? Yes, we shall. All the way from the BBC. Let's see. A day after the U.S. Senate passed a spending bill to end the longest ever government shutdown, the budget fight now moves to the House of Representatives. The lower chamber of Congress is expected to vote this week on the funding measure. Unlike the Senate, if House Republicans stay united, they don't need any Democrats to pass the budget. Exactly. Because they got how many again? 219 against 213. Just so you know, loves. So they already have the majority. Unless, and only unless, you have a few red shirts side with the blue shirts. But that's only and only if they do that, love. Okay, but they have the majority of the House. So you know. Let's continue, though. So they don't need any Democrats to pass the budget. But the margin of error is razor thin. So here are 4 potential holdups for the budget before it can clear Congress and land on that desk of Trump's. Okay? So, will House Republicans budge on health care? A key sticking point throughout the shutdown has been a desire on the part of Democrats to attach the spending bill a renewal of tax credits that make health insurance, less expensive for 24 million Americans. Senate Republicans instead only agreed to grant this particular vote, in December on whether to extend the subsidies. They did not put that in writing, though. They just said it. Something they have already offered weeks ago. So now they're going, whoa. So in other words, Republicans were like, what if we just we talk about this later, but we just get the government back open again so people get paid. And the Democrats were like, no, we are not backing down. Shut up. 5 seconds later. Remember that thing you said about 40 days ago? Yeah. How about we just we like that idea, okay? Because, people getting mad and people getting hungry out here in these streets and we're feeling bad about it. So remember, like I said, the thing you said earlier, is it possible we can what I'm saying? Can we do that? And the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, the Keebler elf, would not. He kind of looks like a Keebler elf to me. But anyway, would not commit on Monday to allowing a vote in his chamber on tax credits. So this entails a fair degree of potential political risk for Republicans. However, if they torpedo the subsidies, health coverage premiums could rocket, handing Democrats a ready-made campaign issue for next year's midterm elections. So MTG, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a conservative Republican congresswoman running for president in 2028. Sorry, she's not. She is, but she's not. But she is, though. But she's not. But she is, though. Anyway, Republican congresswoman from Georgia has broken ranks with President Trump to warn that her party must ensure health insurance premiums do not spike as the clock ticks down to the subsidies expiring by the end of December. Republicans are working out their plan. They want income caps on who can receive the tax credits and are proposing the tax dollar bypass insurance companies and go straight to the individuals, although details were unclear. So, how intense will the House Democratic opposition be? Out of power in Washington, where Trump's Republicans control the House and Senate, Democrats appeared finally to have some political wind in their sails after a handful of election wins last week in Virginia, New Jersey, and in New York City. Yes, you also got to remember, you had all of that. They had literally, as he said, wind in their sails. The wind was in their back after the massive blue typhoon that happened, the blue tsunami that happened a couple weeks ago, okay? Or last week, okay? Big deal. And then suddenly they caved. What in the F is going on, right? But those victories, like the shutdown fight, have accentuated strategic tensions between the pragmatic and progressive or left-wing factions of the party. The Democratic left is furious at defectors who voted with Senate Republicans to pass the budget on Monday, seeing this as a capitulation to Trump. From that wing of the party, Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont said giving up the fight was a horrific mistake. California Governor Gavin Newsom called it a surrender. Congressman from Texas, the chairman of the House Progressive Caucus, warned a deal that doesn't reduce healthcare costs is a brutal of millions of Americans counting on Democrats to fight for them. Or betrayal, I'm sorry. It is a betrayal. Now, here's the thing. I agree. You got hundreds, if not millions of people, hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are counting on this situation, counting on the Democrats to stand their ground for this situation, because those premiums will go up as soon as that Affordable Care Act is demolished. And then suddenly out of nowhere, they just suddenly stand down. They say, I'm going to back down, or we won't back down. And then all of a sudden they back down. What in the F is actually going on here? Okay. However, centrist lawmakers may cross the aisle. So you still have a few people that may look at this differently. But at the same time, will it be enough? They might side with the Republicans because they want things to get turned back on, right? So again, sure, there are some things to get worried about. There are some things that, like, maybe the House might react completely different, and we will find out tomorrow, because they say it's allegedly going to go down tomorrow, but we don't know for sure, right? That's all. It's all what they're hoping for. That's what they're projecting, but it may not. It may not go. They may not do the voting until Thursday, but I'm sure they're going to try to get things going as soon as possible and as soon as tomorrow. And if that is the case, then yes, there is hope that everything will be up and running Friday. That, it'll pass over to Trump Thursday. He'll sign the papers. And then government will be open back up on Friday, only to be closed again for the weekend, but then open fully on Monday, right? That's what at this point, that's what I'm hoping for, because it is kind of ridiculous for them to do all of this and then for them to go through all of, okay, it's already ridiculous that we went through all of this. We all went through it. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, or if you're left-leaning, right-leaning, if you're centrist, if you're agnostic politically, it doesn't matter, okay? It doesn't matter where you stand politically. We all are affected by this situation, whether we are about to travel, whether we have somebody that we love that has SNAP benefits, whether we are, or somebody that we know that is working for the government or is a federal worker as well. It doesn't matter. We're all affected by this in some sort of way. Look at what's going on. The economy is, even though Trump said everything's going great and it's, the country is the hottest it's ever been, there are no facts backing that up right now, guys. He's just saying that. There's no factual evidence of the economy being up and up when things like this is happening at the same damn time. That is not proof of things going well. That is proof of things not going well. You see what I'm saying? Now, I know that there's other people out here that will believe everything that he says. And by all means, it's all good. Do you, boo-boo, if you want to believe that. But honestly, this is a hard time for me to start believing that the economy is up and running and doing 100% great when it's not. Sorry. Then you got this whole tariffs thing. Oh, my dear God. Okay. We're going to talk about it? Okay. We're going to talk about it. Let's talk about this tariffs BS. We already talked about it in short. That's kind of where I've been doing all my political conversation for the most part. So let's talk about the tariffs thing. The tariffs thing is ridiculous. The fact that he's saying, hey, I'm going to give every tax paying middle income to lower income earning American $2,000. Do you really think that that is a benefit? I'm telling you right now, this is kind of what happened when we got the $1,500 stimmies out here. This did not make the economy any better. Things skyrocketed. Money went up. Or sorry, prices went up. Not money. Well, yeah, money. Price is money. So yeah, things started to cost more, right? During that time. So you give us another $2,000, you realize that for those who are just looking at the shiny object, they're not seeing past the shiny object. Actually, they're not seeing the forest through the trees. Do you see what I'm saying? And I even said it in my short. All that glitters is most definitely not gold. But here's the thing. We look at that and go, ooh, the government going to give us money. Yeah, another stimmy. That's dumb. Because all we're doing is looking at that when they're actually doing something else right in front of our faces as we're sitting there going, 1, 2, 2,000. It's dumb. Woo, can't wait to use this money on stupid stuff instead of saving it or investing it into something where I could see some residual income. I'm just being real. You know, for a fact, half of you mother lovers out there that got that $1,500, you use that money on something stupid. You either drank it or you ate it or you spent something that you did. You know what I'm saying? You spent that away. You drank it away. You ate it away. You bought something stupid with it instead of using that money as a investment in something, right? Now, if you get it, cool. You know, be excited about it. But for me, I'm going, where's the catch? Where's the catch and what's the catch? Period. Because for him to sit there and go, you know, we're doing so great. Everybody's going to get $2,000. Everybody. It's going to be huge, huge checks. How do we know that the country's really, truly doing as great as he says it is? If he's saying one thing and the powers that be that actually do all the digital, like all the doohickey, you know, breakdowns of stuff, they're saying something completely different. Country isn't doing that great. We're not completely okay. And like I said, with a shutdown like this, where people can't even afford to buy food right now, you got lines out the food banks right now as we speak, and will continue to do so until this government is turned back on. You see all of that. You're telling me that the country's doing better than it's ever been before? I think not. Respectfully, I think not. But hey, it is what it is. And I'm hoping that something changes here in the very near future. But again, the senators came in, they voted, they crossed. Some parties crossed political, you know, their party lines to get things moving. Now, I know some of you guys don't agree with it, you know, and some of y'all are like, what, you know, and some of y'all are like, yeah, get the country back up and open again. Let's go. But I know that there's a lot of people that are still reacting to this whole thing. And even myself, I got questions as well. I do. But let's take a look at this. I'm going to play. I'm literally. Okay. So Senator John Fetterman, okay, came out and he did an interview. He's been doing a bunch of interviews. Okay, he did stuff on MSNBC. He did stuff with The View. He did actually one with The View that we are going to look at here right now. Okay. And yes, this is from The View. All right. Don't get at me. All right. But I wanted to hear what he had to say because, again, he's on this platform. He's being asked these questions. He's being asked these burning questions, and I think that it's fair for us to hear his side and why he decided to go and say yes to this bill instead of holding it down, instead of not backing down. Right? So let's take a listen to this. I want to hear what they got to say. I am going to turn the speed up a little bit, just so you know, okay? Because fair use and all that crap. But so it's going to be a little bit fast, okay? But this is a short clip. Let's take a listen.
Good morning, Senator. So you have a new book out today, and it's called Unfettered. And it's a very candid memoir that covers everything from your journey into public service, your Senate race against Dr. Oz, your marriage to the wonderful Giselle, and kids, and your life-threatening stroke and struggles with depression. Why did you want to tell your story?
Well, because I think it's an important conversation to have. I know millions of Americans.
Oop, wrong one. Hold on. Sorry about that, guys. Hold on. Wrong one.
Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman.
There it is. Sorry about that. Let me get straight to it here. Where the heck is it? Okay. Right there. Cool. Let's get that.
We know there's a lot of backlash to this kinds of chaos. And now voters are going to respond to more order and the more kinds of not violating our core values to plunge our country into chaos for 42 million Americans. Food security, that's really parts of the essence of the kind of people that I fight for. Now we have to be able to disagree on these things. And if you can't, and now as a committed Democrat that vote 90% of the Democratic line, I mean, now like that might be a bigger problem with our party in some way, that a committed Democrat from the most difficult and purple state in the country says, hey, I'm trying to call balls and strikes in the middle of this chaos.
Well, Senator, Bernie Sanders said the vote was a horrific mistake. Governor Gavin Newsom called it pathetic and a surrender. Poll after poll found more Americans on both sides of the aisle blaming Republicans. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene blamed the GOP.
Now, hold on. Because I know that a lot of us, okay, are bringing Marjorie Taylor Greene into the conversation. And I got to make this abundantly clear. Like, yeah, she's saying a lot of things right now that even I'm side-eyeing, okay? Because I feel like there's something going on. All right? I said it about Marjorie Taylor Greene. Something about it is not sitting well with me. Okay? It's like drinking a chocolate milkshake knowing damn well that you are freaking lactose intolerant. Okay? It's just not sitting well with me. Okay? Stomach is turning over it. Something just doesn't seem real. You got to remember, this is the same woman talking about Jewish lasers and that the Jews have control over the weather and stuff like that. This is the same woman that said those things. And now she's saying things that start to make sense. And again, I even said it in a little bit ago. Even hearing her say certain things, something ain't right. But at the same time, the fact that she's been on this whole movement lately where she's distancing herself from MAGA, instantly I'm like, something's weird. There's a still out there, like there's a headshot, like a thumbnail that they have of her, like, because she did an interview. I don't remember where she was what channel she was on, but she was getting an interview. Maybe it was News Nation or something like that. But anyway, she's sitting there and she's smiling, and it just seems so odd. It didn't look real how she was like smiling in the thumbnail. You know what I'm saying? It just felt not real, because that's not the Marjorie Taylor Greene that I've grown to understand. It's very like, it was weird. But now we're throwing her name out a lot because she is saying things on the side of, wait a second, what's going on makes no freaking sense and is insane. And now she's starting to make sense against this chaos. It's the wildest thing. I will say that. It's like the crazy person that's walking around with the sign saying, and it says like, the end is nigh. You know what I'm saying? And they're wearing the tinfoil hat and they're just covered in soot. But then the end is there. Like the end is actually happening, Aliens invade and they're blowing things up and all that. And we suddenly all turn to the person who's been warning everybody about this damn alien invasion since they were homeless, since they became homeless, and holding this raggedy ass sign saying the end is nigh. And now they're going, oh, you believe me now? Okay, we're going to go over here. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to lead all y'all. That's kind of where we're at right now. Where it's like this craziness is going on, all this madness is going on, and we're looking at the crazy lady who's saying they're playing Hava Nagila ringtone songs on lasers in space, and now we're looking at her, and she's starting to make. Do you see what does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense, and we're all going, yeah. My MTG just said the same thing. She agrees with me. I'm going, wait a second, something ain't right. Are we, you know what I'm saying? Did we all just take a hit of acid and we just all like, woo, in another dimension? But this is still Marjorie Taylor Greene. Let me remind you. This is still the Marjorie Taylor Greene that we all know. She still believes those conspiracy theories. That hasn't changed. So it's weird. We're living in a wild time, man. That's all I'm trying to say. We're living in a wild time, man. Like the villains are the heroes, and the heroes are the villains. What's going on here?
As you mentioned, Democrats had big wins last week, so you had momentum. Why give in now? Why bring a butter knife to a gunfight? Are you willing to gamble that the GOP will negotiate on health care in good faith once the government reopens? Because if that gamble is wrong, 500,000 Pennsylvanians that you represent, their health care costs will skyrocket if you are wrong. And I believe you are wrong.
Well, first of all, MTG is quite literally the last person in America that I'm going to take advice or to get their kinds of my leadership and values from. And now if Democrats are celebrating crazy pants like that, then that's on them.
He's got a point. He's got a point. But again, all I'm saying is just because we are agreeing with her does not mean that we stand with her. That's the biggest thing. You see what I'm saying? Just because they're standing with her in this moment and being like, yeah, she got a point here, does not mean that she's right. Doesn't mean that, just because I'm going, yeah, even myself, yeah, that's crazy. What's going on here. And they need to find a way to stop premiums being so out of this world and make healthcare affordable for people. I agree with that. That does not mean I'm going out and having a drink with her. Doesn't mean that we're going to break bread and she's going to be invited to, my kid's bar mitzvah. I don't have a Jewish kid, but you know what I'm saying? Okay. Like, my kid's recital or something. You're not going to see her there. Sup, MTG? Yeah. She's the one in the corner of the cob. Yeah, that's her. Oh, she about to sing her. Oh, yeah. She about to sing her solo. Can you hold the phone for me so I can just watch her? Can you hold the phone? Yeah. Just put it. Yeah. Not vertical, horizontal. Okay, thank you. Okay. Isn't she beauty? Come on now. But she is crazy pants. I agree with that. She is definitely crazy pants, for sure.
And I don't need a lecture. I don't need a lecture from whether it's Bernie or the governor in California, because they are representing very deep blue kinds of populations. And a lot of those things were part of the extreme. And now remember, what really needs to win, the big win is involving my state and other states and those things. And why have we arrived here after the election a year ago? We got to forget some of the things that cost us that election. Or now for me, it's like, that's why I'm trying to remind people that kinds of the extremism, we can't return to those kind of things and realize we need to find a way forward. And I would like to, rather than cite MTG, I'm going to cite one of the new governor-elects saying that my election is not a green light to continue the shutdown, because I promise you, this isn't a political game. It is viewed by that by many of us, but the reality is 42 million Americans now not sure where their next meal is going to come from. And because we vote like that, or people that haven't been paid for 5 weeks now, and that kinds of chaos.
So you mean to tell me the only reason why you decided to do this is because of that and that alone? That's it. The only reason why you decided we're not gonna back down. Well, now we're gonna back down because we got people who need food and people hungry. That's the only reason. Like, I get it, but at the same time, like, that's the only reason. Think about this for a second. The SNAP benefits should have been running. That's something that they decided to shut off. They had opportunities to pay people in full. They had the capability to pay people in full. And then all of a sudden, they said, nope, we're only going to do half. We're only going to do partial. And we're not going to give it to everybody. You see, that's the problem. They used and they utilized the people going hungry and people not getting paid, and they weaponized that. And then it got into the heads of these Democrats. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that these people did not deserve to get, like, the people out here that are starving. I'm not sitting here saying that they shouldn't get food. Come on. I'm not saying that at all. But this can't be the only reason why you decided to say yes to this bill, that everybody was rallying together and saying they won't back down, and they said, hail to the nah. So that just doesn't make sense to me, at least just to me, okay, to me. Because at the end of the day, people are about to get screwed even worse later on. If they can't come to some sort of agreement, it doesn't even have to be the ACA. It doesn't even have to be that. It could be some version, some rendition, some new hybrid of ACA and maybe Trump Care or whatever the hell they're going to call it. Okay, because you know how Trump likes it. You know, he loves everything Trump, right? He likes the brand. So why not do that, right? And now they're saying, oh, yeah, we're going to do that. It's not guaranteed, guys. That agreement is not guaranteed. That's the sad part of this whole thing. It is not guaranteed. Now, here's the thing. There's something I do want to show y'all, because I've been wanting to show this to you guys for a couple days. It's just been not having a whole lot of time. It's been a busy time over here, and I know it's been a busy time for all y'all as well out here. So I hope you guys are all well, okay? Hopefully you guys are holding it down, even during this time of need, right? Because it has been very crazy, okay? There's a lot of people that have been struggling a lot. Again, if you can give back, please do so. All right. Literally, I raided my cupboard. I did. So just an idea. If you want to give back, if you want to, contribute to these food banks, raid your cupboard. Get all the canned goods that you have that you may not be using, may not be eating. Seriously. The ones that have been sitting there, you had for as rations, or just in case you bought an extra X, Y, and Z. Raid your stuff, right? Raid that cupboard. Get those things into a box. Go over to that food bank and drop it off. A little bit goes a long way. At the end of the day, a little bit goes a long way. Seriously. That one person could really use that can of beets or that can of corn. You just never know. So again, it doesn't matter if you have a 3 boxes full or just one small box. At least you're doing something. And again, that's just going from looking into your own personal grocery store, which means your home cupboards, and just going through them. And you're like, oh, wow, I just realized that I have a whole bunch of canned beets up there, right? Take them down, put them in a box, send them, go over to that local food bank and drop it off, right? Contribute if you can. That's it. And that doesn't mean you have to spend any money. Okay, that's just coming out of the stuff that you already have that you're not using at all. That just sits there. Utilize it now. This is the time. This is most definitely an emergency because, again, they have not turned the lights back on. And yes, there are a few people that have gotten their SNAP benefits, but not everybody. There are still millions upon millions of people that are still going over to these food banks fighting. In fact, I just saw this comment I want to read here too. Meredith just said, shout out to the Pascal or Pascal. Thank you. I had to borrow $200 to eat for my parents or from my parents. Okay. I'm almost 50. Luckily, they were able to help me, but my dad also cleared his pantry and gave me all of their canned food. Now, here's the thing. That's beautiful that your family was even able to do that, because even so, there are people out here that even say, yo, the canned food that I have in my cupboard, in my cabinets right now is all I got. And I need that for food too. So I get that. But that's beautiful that you have a support system out there, but there are a lot of people that don't. Okay. So just a quick reminder of that. Give back if you can. Give back if you can. If you can't, it's okay. Because I'm telling you right now, one day you're gonna catch a lick. You're gonna do just fine, right? You're gonna get out of the hellhole or whatever the situation you are financially in, and it's gonna be a situation where you can give back. And all I ask for you to do is pay it forward. That's it. Pay it forward. If you if you end up going and getting a little bit of money from your parents or getting canned goods from a food bank, there's going to be a moment where they're going to need that help too. Your parents or that food bank might need that help. Go. Shoot, man, like canned goods aren't super expensive, okay? It's not super expensive, and I'm not knocking, okay? I'm just saying the canned goods can really go a long way. You go, take that little bit of money that you got, that you can afford, go get some canned goods and drop them off, Go to those dollar stores too. The dollar store, right? Even though when they're not really a dollar store no more, everything's like $1.25 and stuff, right? But all I'm saying is, like, give back if you can, right? Give back if you can. Now, yeah, and they'll accept toiletries as well. There's again, anything pretty much. Oh, diapers, formula. That if you can afford the diapers and formula, because I'm being real right now. That those diapers, woo, them formula, like Enfamil. You know what I mean? I call it FML. Get it? Like my life, yeah, because they're so damn expensive. Okay. Yeah, I call it FML. All right. Not Enfamil. FML. Okay. Because it's so damn expensive. Right. But if you can afford something like that to give back to the people, there are people out here that really need the formula. Real talk. Speaking of formula, I did want to share this with you guys, because here's the thing. There is a girl on TikTok that's been going and calling up churches at random. This is the wildest thing I've ever seen. She's been calling churches, okay, and she's been acting like she has a recording of a baby crying in the background, and she's been calling random churches, seeing if they can actually help her with like a can of formula. And the results have been absolutely insane. So here's one of them that I want you guys to see. And if not seeing this on TikTok, she's been going viral lately. I mean, this one already has close to 500,000 reactions or likes on it, because she is exposing something. She is showing something that's just absolutely insane. These churches who will sit there and go like, God has you. We have you here. Come through. We'll support. We'll help you. But then they won't. She's called hundreds of them now. This is insane. But let's take a listen.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now I'm about to call Germantown Baptist Church located in Memphis, Tennessee. And we're going to see if they would be willing to feed a starving baby.
Yeah, I don't think she has a baby. She just has a recording of a baby.
Thank you for calling Germantown Baptist Church. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Press 1 for our address. Press 2 for worship service information, or press 0 for the operator.
It's crazy.
Germantown Baptist Church.
Hi, yeah. I was wanting to see if you all could help with a small can of baby formula.
If we can help with what? I'm sorry.
Like a small can of baby formula.
Let me get the pastor on call for you. Let me place you on a hold. One moment, please.
Thank you for calling Germantown Baptist Church. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed.
That's crazy that she has to call back.
Thank you, ma'am. I saw you hung up, and I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to call her back. But my system was jammed up, so I couldn't see who was actually on call. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's not working. And I usually print that out, and I didn't this time, but I'm just gonna walk back there and see, okay?
Okay.
Okay, one moment.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi, yes. I was just wanting to see if y'all were able to help with baby formula at all.
We are, unfortunately, are not. We have a benevolence program, but it is for our members.
It's just for the members, because like I have a 2-month-old and she hasn't ate like since last night, so she's gone all night and all day without any formula. Like I don't.
For their members only. Do you understand that? Members only. This is just one phone call so far, guys. She's done hundreds of these. Okay? And he's sitting there going, nope, sorry. You have to be a member to get this stuff. So you have to be out here tithing your hard-earned money to this church to just even get a small can of formula for your starving, wailing baby in the background. Ain't that's not very Christian now, is it?
I don't need money or anything. I just need like a small little can. And I've been calling everywhere and they're just telling me call churches, and I just don't know what else to do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have any formula here to give out. We don't have any kind of food bank or anything like that.
Would it be something you all could get and I could pick it up?
What's that?
Would it be something you all would be able to get and I can pick it up?
Well, like I said, if it's anything like that, our benevolence is for our members.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And then she hangs up. This is absolutely crazy. Shame. That is bad. All right. Now, she obviously does not have a baby. Okay. She does not have a baby. But it is pretty insane that you have somebody who is trying to like, hey, I need help. Can you help? Do you mind helping a little bit? What's also crazy to me too is that, and I'm sorry, it wasn't hundreds. She's done like at least like 40, over 40 of these churches. Okay. But what's weird to me, and I'm going to pull up another one here in just a minute. But what's crazy to me is that you have this person saying like, I can't help you, but you're a church. Like aren't you supposed to help? That's what you're supposed to do. Or at least go like, yeah, come on down and we will give you some money. Like we'll just get you the money. Or don't worry about it. What kind do you need? What kind of a formula do you need? I got you. Say less. I got you. Say less. I don't need to know anything. I will go and get it. Just come meet me and I'll give it to you. Right? Shoot. That's all you needed to do. How much is formula nowadays? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, it's about X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool. How about this? Why don't you come meet me here? All right. We'll go get you some some formula really quick. Meet us here at the church, and we'll make sure we got you some formula. It's really not that bad, because I know how it is. You instantly you're going, okay, I could give you the cash, but I don't know this person. Is this person really going to use the cash for the formula? They might use it to drink it or inject it away or smoke it away. I don't know, right? So again, it's like, okay, say less. Come over to the church. I'm gonna let whoever the secretary was, whoever picked up the phone first. I'm gonna have her run that errand, okay? But come on over here. I want to meet you, and we'll make sure your kid has the formula. But come here first. How far away are you? What kind does your baby need? Are they lactose intolerant? Do they have any allergies? Can I hear about any of those things? Clearly, I'm a dad here too. So you know what I mean? Tell me the information that we need, and we'll get it all taken care of. Right? That's it. Right? Yeah. Yeah, Odd. Come on now. That man had more than just $50 to buy some formula. And he's sitting there going, "Oh, I'm sorry. We only do that for the members. For the members, though. It's only for the members." Are you smoking? What kind of cracks are you smoking in the house of God? We got to look at another one here because now we're here. Okay, and shout out to this creator. What's her name? Nicole? Maybe it's Nikali. Okay. But damn, this is just insane. Let's take a look at this one.
So I'm calling your church to test to see if they would help feed a starving baby. And right now, per request, I'm calling Living Faith Christian Center in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Let's call them and see if they would help feed a starving baby.
I just want to tell you that I agree with this comment here. Somebody here said, this is the best social experiment I've ever seen. And it really is, because let's not forget, listen, I'm not knocking your church. Okay, hold up, because I know some of y'all are going to get in your feelings about this and be like, man, you talk about houses of God, man. You talk about these pastors and everything. We're talking about God. Hold on now. Hold on. Time out. Tranquilo. Relax. There are a lot of people out here. There's a lot of charlatans out here that act like they're one thing, but they're really not. These churches that she calls that say no. Now, I don't know their personal situation, okay? I don't know their situation as far as the church goes, but at the same time, it's supposed to be a community of people. It's a gathering of people under one roof, praising and worshiping a God that they follow and they worship and they cherish. Supposed to be a family, supposed to be a community. And while they're sitting there going, oh yeah, whatever you can tithe, and they're passing around the bucket, while you're tithing, right? And passing it on. Just like somebody who's paying taxes, right? You hope to see some sort of return. Not only just the return of that guy giving great anecdotes and preaching the word and helping you get closer to God, but also if you are in dire need, whether you are a member or not of that church, that church can be a house, that can be a protector for those that are in need, And that could be anyone, not just members of the church. See, now when you go to a church and you praise, you worship, you do your thing. Maybe, what about those people who are outside hoping for any piece of help, any semblance of help? You can't turn to that person who's in need or in that is in dire straits and sit there and go, well, you're not with my church. You're not with Living Faith Christian Center. So therefore, I can't rock with you. I'm sorry. Good luck. Goodbye. I'm sorry. As you close the church doors right in front of their face as they're begging for help. Isn't it the whole treat those as as how you would want to be treated, right? Isn't it about helping others when they're in need? Come on now. And I know this is a social experiment and this is not real, but at the same time, it is really sad when you got like, you got the righteous gemstones out here. Yeah, I said it. Okay. Out here being like, God is wonderful and he's amazing. And I'm here to give you help whenever you need. And then they call and they go, we need help. And they're like, oh, really? There's a really great food bank down the street. Ask them. Good luck. God bless, though, as I shine off my shiny bling bling rings on my fingers and fly on my PJ. That's a private jet. That's what people say when they rich. Off of your money. Oh, and it's tax-free, by the way. Tax-free money that I'm just raking in, telling stories out of the Bible. Come on, guys. Pretty insane and very real. And this is really happening right now. This is another no. This one has 7.4 million views. Just so you know, this video right here alone. See, this is the moments where the likes of a Joel Osteen should be looking like Boo Boo the Fool. But yet he still has his mega church. Yet he still has arenas being filled because of what he is saying and because of his branding. But when there were floods and all kinds of chaos going on in his neck of the woods, he shut that arena doors down. He shut them from the people that needed the help. Real talk, y'all. The people that really needed the help, he shut those doors in their faces. Some God-loving, some not God-loving, but they needed that help. And he did that too. Oh, I'm sorry. You got to be a member. You got to be a member. You got to be a member. Oh, I'm sorry. Shut the doors on them, mother lovers. Slam the doors in their faces. How Christian is that? This is the problem I have with faith-loving, God-loving people, because they'll sit there all day long saying that they're God-fearing, but then 10 seconds later, they're talking smack about somebody, gossiping, putting judgment on people, feeling holier than thou, than actually extending a helping hand. Got to tell you guys that, you know, a lot of this is a business for some of these mother lovers out here, y'all. It's a business, which is sad because they took the business of God, they took the business of faith and just started squeezing everybody's pockets. Tax-free. Crazy. Let me let her cook.
Christian Center.
Hi, yes. I was wanting to see if y'all could help with baby formula at all. I have a 2-month-old and she ran out last night, so I just need like a small can because she's gone all day and all night.
I don't understand. You have need for what, ma'am, now?
I was wanting to see if you all could help with a small can of formula for a baby.
Small can of formula for a baby. Hold on, let me see. Sister Julia's available. Hold on a minute,
Okay.
This is Julia. How can I help you?
Hi, I was wanting to see if y'all could help with a small can of baby formula. I have a 2-month-old and she's been out since last night, so she's gone all night and all day without anything to eat.
We don't have any formula around, darling. I'm sorry. None. No diapers, anything for babies. We don't have any.
Could that be something you all could get and I could just pick it up?
No, we can't right now. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. All right, thanks. Nope.
Crazy. They just said flat out no. Again, this is one that has 7.4 million views right now. Whole world is reacting to this one. But this is all people, all churches that she's calling. Some are saying yes. Honestly, some are saying yes. Like, hey, what do you need? You know, some are like, well, we don't have any formula, but what is it? What can I do for you? Like, you know, what do you need? Let me try to figure this out, right? Which is amazing. Great that they're like, let's figure it out. What can I do? And then she's like, oh, this is a social experiment. You know what I mean? It's almost like, oh, sorry, you're on candid camera. There's the camera. There's a camera over there. There's a camera over there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, damn. Oh, I didn't know it was a social experiment. Oh, goodness. So you don't need the formula? Oh, okay. But some of these other ones, like this one, oh no. Oh no, I'm sorry, sweetie. Oh, it's so sad about that baby. I can't get you the formula. We don't even have diapers though, too. Oh, that's terrible. That baby. What? Seriously? This is sad, y'all. But that's very real. Calling these places up. Just seeing, will they help out? Now, I know some could look at that and turn it into something diabolical, turn it into something, you know, all churches are bad. No, but I see that she's calling places in the area or, you know, outside our area and just making phone calls and just trying to show like, hey, there are a lot of people that could really use help right now. They should be able to turn to their local church and ask for help. They should. Like, literally, I understand that somebody who's super broke, $50 for formula is $50 for formula. So it's a lot. But the likes of a church where there's plenty of people in that church that could easily pull together $1 each, 50 cents each, okay, to raise $50 to get formula for a child. And they're still going, sorry, can't help you. That is insane to me. And that's not something that should be happening to anyone. So imagine if she really was a mom with a real baby that's crying because she hasn't eaten in days or a day or two. And she's calling these churches begging for help. Imagine that. And imagine those ones that are like, sorry, that baby. Oh, I can hear in the background. Oh, that poor baby. But yeah, we got nothing for you. What? What? Can you at least try and find some? You don't have one rich patron that could fork over a few ducats to help a person out? Crazy, y'all. But that is the real deal, Holyfield. Okay. But guys, I'm gonna hop off here. Actually, I got a bunch of super chats. Let me grab these. Okay, let me start from not from the beginning, but from where we just left off. Okay, so the latest ones. So Janobi, thank you so much for the love. Play the pastor who asked for what flavor. His church has gotten over 100,000 in donations now. That's amazing. I have not seen that one. I don't know which one that is, to be really, really honest. I'd have to comb through her whole social media to find that one. But let me take a quick look. Hold on. Let me take a quick look. Real quick look. Let me see. Let's see. No, I don't see anything. That's what sucks about these. That's kind of what sucks about TikTok. You can't really see, like, you know, there's no thumbnails, you know. You just don't see that. Let's see, hold on. Because it would be nice to see a positive outcome of the situation. But yeah, she's done Like I said, she's done a buttload of these, and we have, I don't see anything like that, unfortunately. I'm going to have to look for it and then bring it up later. You know what I mean? But I think that's, it's a good social experiment, I think. You know what I mean? But real quick, Genobi, again, Supreme Court has blocked Snap just now. Yeah. So they already blocked Snap a few days ago. And somebody said that I was lying or that it wasn't entirely true what I was saying about Trump asking for the money back, or Trump administration asking for the money back. So I'm going to show that to you, proof positive, because it's right here. According to Politico, they said right here, Trump administration tells states to undo full SNAP benefits. So there are some states that actually did give out benefits, and they were asking them to basically get the money back. And this is according to Politico, which, of course, I don't know how y'all feel about Politico, but at the same time, they are stating that Trump administration was like, oh, those, let's just say, for example, state of Illinois. Yeah. Remember how you had all that money and you gave it all to the people of the starving families? Yeah, it's great. I'm happy you did that. Yeah, we're going to need you to get it back. What? How are we going to get it back? But that's literally what's going on. They're asking for it back, y'all, which is insane. And there it is, according to Politico. All right. Nurse for God, thank you so much for gifting 5 new memberships. Welcome to the family, all you new memberships. And, it's because Nurse for God gave you guys some love. All I ask for you to do is pay it forward. Okay? Pay it forward. Open the door for somebody. You know what? Go get some canned goods and go to a food bank and give it to the food bank. Just drop it off at the door. Okay? That's all you need to do. Just go over there and drop it off. Give back if you can. I think that they would really, really appreciate it for sure. Okay? And here it is. They're going to need help until SNAP benefits and all that are fully turned on. You got to understand, there are people out here that have already eaten the last crumb in their cupboard, last crumb in their refrigerator, and they keep returning back to the food banks because they just need something. Okay. So again, any little bit goes a long way. So please, if you can give back, please do. Okay. Genobi, again, thank you so much. Republicans threw a wrench and said they will do ACA, but smortion restrictions now, but want restrictions on the termination thing. Interesting. I did not know that, Genobi. That's news to me. Michelle Woods, thank you so much. Chuck Schumer, Mike Johnson, and so many more needs to go since last 6 months. Yeah, they are already calling for Chuck Schumer to resign. They're literally telling him to step down now. They're like, you need to quit. You need to get the F out of here because you just done mucked this whole thing up. There's a lot of Democrats that are mad right now. Understandably that they're mad. I get it. I get that they're mad. My Miracle Mama, thank you so much for the love. Why are the Dems considered the ones who are shutting down the government when it's the pubs who don't want to give health care to millions? Is it just because the pubs are in majority? Confused. Okay. All right. Let's talk about this, shall we? Here it is. At least this is my opinion, and I could be absolutely wrong. And I already know somebody's already they're in the middle of pushing their imaginary glasses off the bridge of their nose to say, well, actually, but here it is. My thoughts are this. One thing that's really that the Republicans are really good at right now is creating a narrative. You already know that Trump administration is good at making narratives. Okay, he's really good at putting out a narrative and putting out a thing that sticks in the minds of everybody. It's the wildest thing. But it is a skill and a gift that he has. Whether he does that for good or does that for bad, that I leave up to you guys. But one thing is for sure. Instantly, as soon as this shutdown happened, it turned into a whole thing of this is the Democrats' fault. They done mucked this up. Then they also said, we don't want to give health care to immigrants. That's what they want to do. They want to give these health benefits to these illegals when you can't do that. That you can't. It's been proven and spoken about a million times over, but it's still a narrative that is being thrown out here for everyone to hear. And when people hear that over and over and over again, they turn that into truth. So when it comes to why the Republicans want to do this, the one thing I'm kind of curious about it too. I think it's a whole situation of Trump does not like anything with Obama's name on it. He wants to get Obama's name off that mother-loving thing. So he is trying to find any way that he can get Obama completely eradicated, completely obliterated from the history of United States, basically. Okay, except for the fact that he can't erase the fact that that Obama was president at one point. Okay, he can't change that, but he can definitely eradicate and get rid of anything else that Obama or the Democrats erected. Okay, and I think that that's what's going on. And of course, you got to remember the Republicans, for the most part, except for when Tucker Carlson had a conversation with Nick Fuentes and all that stuff. It is pretty MAGA. It is MAGA till they die. Okay. And when Trump speaks, it is scripture. So I think that the pubs, well, that's the other thing too. Here it is. They don't want, from what I'm gathering, they don't want the public, the general public, to have health care because it's not instantly going back into their pockets. If you see what I'm saying, there's something bigger going on here. I don't know what it is exactly, okay? But there is something strange about this. I will say that. And the fact that you have everybody listening to the higher ups, and like Trump and Vance and all that, and they're just literally saying, "Oh yeah, it's the Democrats' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's the Democrats' fault." Just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. But then at the same time, if you really think about it, there are other people out here, okay, that are not agreeing with it, that are Republicans. It's like, no, I don't agree. Premiums are going to go through the roof. And if those premiums go through the roof, the people are going to lose their lives because they're not going to be able to afford certain things that they should be able to have covered. That would be covered right now if the Affordable Care Act actually still existed. Right? So again, it is very interesting. Okay. It's confusing. It's very interesting, but I also think it is trying to get the rich to stay rich and keeping the poor staying poor. That's just how I see it. But we're going to have to dive into that another time for sure. Okay. Tina, thank you so much for being a member for a year. Welcome. Thank you so much for your support. Okay. Misty, thank you so much for the love. In my opinion, all American citizens need to be granted $1,000 per person per day for all the pain / suffering we're all enduring during every day of this government shutdown. Man, would that be nice? That would be fire. That'd be $40,000 for every person. Okay, that'd be $40,000+ at this point for every single person. That would be phenomenal. But nah, it'll never happen. But if you realize that the people are mad, Trump is out here like, we're going to give you $2,000. Look over here. Something shiny, $2,000, right? But remember, he went to a football game and got booed. That's insane. That's insane. That did happen. He got booed at a football game. That's insane. The people are talking, and the people are not happy. Just saying. Misty, thank you so much for the love again. All they get is raisins and their tater salad, cranberry in their mac and cheese. I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, don't you dare do that. Don't you dare put those damn cranberries in that damn mac and cheese, and don't you dare do that raisins in the mother-loving tater salad. Something's wrong with you. Okay? That's diabolical. All right? Genoba, you got these last two, so thank you. SCOTUS may rule against Trump tariffs. He is freaking out in his postings. Now, see, that's the thing. If they do rule against his tariffs, I mean, because like I said, I have yet to see any proof of the tariffs doing well. Okay. I will say that. All right. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let's see. Just want to see something here real quick. Yeah, I mean, so I know he's been saying stuff about like spending the $2,000, but I don't see anything, I haven't seen anything about him tripping on social media so far. Hold on. $600 billion already. The tariffs, okay, has cost each American household $33,636 since their inception, an average of about $400 per month since Trump took office. That certainly won't get any better if SCOTUS decides in his favor. Okay, let's take a look at this. Let's see this. Let's see what they're talking about. So he says, so let's get this straight. The president of the United States is allowed and fully approved by Congress to stop all trade with a foreign country, which is far more onerous than a tariff, and license a foreign country, but is not allowed to put a simple tariff on a foreign country, even for purposes of national security. That is not what our great founders had in mind. The whole thing is ridiculous. Other countries can tariff us, but we can't tariff them. It is their dream. Businesses are pouring into the USA only because of tariffs. Has the US or has the United States Supreme Court not been told this? What the hell is going on? That's interesting. And that's news to me too. Okay. I have not seen this. So that's very, very interesting that he's tripping about this. But we'll see if it actually does. We'll see if they'll do that. I don't know. Hold on. Sorry, I'm just looking at all this for the first time as well. So give me a second here. Huh.
Switzerland posted last week about trade about your talks with Switzerland. We're reporting that you're near a deal that would lower their rates.
With Switzerland?
Yeah.
We're working on a deal to get their tariffs a little bit lower because
15% is what we're doing.
no, I haven't said any number, but we're going to be working on something to help Switzerland along. We hit Switzerland very hard. We want Switzerland to remain successful, and we're a part of Switzerland in the sense that they've been a very good ally. Yeah, we're working on them and some others, and we're working on others to increase them a little bit too.
How close is it to Switzerland?
Switzerland? What, do you have something to do with Switzerland? He wants to buy a nice one. He wants to buy a nice Rolex, right? We'll give Rolex some publicity because Rolex they've been very nice, Now, look, it's a beautiful country. It's a small country, but economically very big. So we're working on something. Caitlin?
After meeting with the Syrian president earlier today, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is a big ally of yours, said that she would rather see you focused on nonstop domestic policy meetings here at the White House instead of nonstop foreign policy meetings. What's your response to her saying that, and also saying that grocery prices are up and not down, as you've said?
Yeah, so I don't know what happened to Marjorie. She's a nice woman, but I don't know what happened. She's lost her way, I think.
Wow.
But,
she lost her way. I'm sorry. Jewish lasers girl has now, she has lost her way. Now she has lost. Okay. Okay.
I have to view the presidency as a worldwide situation, not locally. I mean, we could have a world that's on fire where wars come to our shores very easily if you had a bad president. We had a horrible president, and we ended up with Russia, Ukraine, and we ended up with other disasters, too. Don't forget, I put out 8 wars, 9 to come. I think I'll get the other one taken care of, but I put out 8 wars. And look at the damage that Russia, Ukraine has done to us as a country. I mean, we spent $350 billion. We're not spending any money anymore. Now they pay us through NATO. You know.
But now you're spending money, billions of dollars over to Argentina and starting wars. Well, you know, brewing things with Nigeria, Venezuela, and all that. Like, I'm just saying, like, as much as like I agree, like a broken clock can be right 2 times a day. I'm going to agree with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Come on now. Like, you mean to tell me you're squashing all these beefs over here, but there's all kinds of beef going on here in this country right now. And instead of really trying to get your Nobel Peace Prize medal, maybe focus on what's really going on over here for a second. You know what I'm saying? You got a country right now that's still on shutdown. I mean, hopefully it'll be over here soon. But during this time, during these interviews and all that, shutdown was still prominent, still piping hot. But you're sitting there going, oh, I'm ending all these wars. But you still have people, American people. It doesn't matter if they're Republican or not, because there's a lot of Republican people out here that are starving out here in these streets as well. The ones that actually voted for him as well are still starving out here in these streets. And yet he's busy deploying ships out into, you know, areas, starting beef with particular countries, giving billions of dollars over here to Argentina. While, you know, the head of Argentina is just having a ball now. Okay. He out here having a ball. Mounds of blow, I'm sure, just going crazy. Billions of dollars worth of blow just stacked up like he's Scarface, standing on a mountain of blow, having a great time. Okay? And yet, he's not even focused on what's really going on here in this country. You know, what I've realized is the only time that he's actually in this country as of late is when he's playing golf or when he's throwing balls. Literally. And and I'm talking about balls, like actual, like, gatherings, okay? Doing Great Gatsby parties and stuff while the American people are starving out here in these streets. See, that's a problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be a bias or think Trump is the bee's knees or think he's terrible to realize that those are all bad looks. You see what I'm saying? You can still sit on the fence and look at both sides of the fence and go, this is all jacked up. Both sides are, you know what I mean? Yeah, he loves his balls. He loves his balls. But he doesn't love giving everybody else the love and the support. Okay? While everybody's starving. And then he's like, well, I'm going to give you guys $2,000. That doesn't change anything. It doesn't. It doesn't, guys. But anyway, let me just continue. Tariffs are crazy.
You know, I got NATO to go from 2% to 5%. Well, that's very important. When you're president, you really sort of have to watch over the world because you're going to be dragged into it. Otherwise, you're going to be dragged into a world war. I think if I weren't president, first of all, that war would have never happened if I was president. And if I weren't president, that war could have led to World War III. It won't. It's not going to anymore. But when I first got in, I said, wow, this situation could lead to World War III. And I got NATO together. I got everybody together. But with all of that, I passed a great, big, beautiful bill, which is the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know. I don't devote a lot of my time. Let me give you another example. China. China was going to hit us with rare earth. Now, everybody says, what does that mean? Magnets. If China refused to give magnets, because they have a monopoly on magnets, because they were allowed to happen over a 32-year period, there wouldn't be a car made in the entire world. There wouldn't be a radio. There wouldn't be a television. There wouldn't be internet. There wouldn't be anything, because magnets are such a part. Now, nobody knows what magnets are, and not overly sophisticated, but to build a magnet system would take 2 years. So if I weren't able to say to China, look, if you're going to do that to us, we're going to charge you 158% tariff. It was 100% on top of 58%. And China called up immediately and said, we will make peace. And we made peace. We made a great deal. We made an unbelievable deal. China's paying tariffs to the United States, not the United States paying tariffs to China, which has always been the way it was. Nobody can believe these deals. But so when somebody makes a statement about he's devoting time to the world, well, the world is the United States, because if the world's in trouble or if the world is ripping us off, the world was ripping us off before I came here. Europe was getting massive tariffs. They were sending us 9-10 million cars a year. We were sending them none. They were not taking our agriculture. We were taking massive amounts of their. It was so unfair. Now we have a deal where $950 billion is coming into the United States because of me and because of tariffs. So if I don't do all these things, our country is doing very poorly. So, it's easy to say, oh, don't worry about the world. But the world is turning out to be our biggest customer. The world was on fire. And we could have been in that fire very easily if you didn't have a president that knew what he was doing.
Okay, so here it is. Don't get me wrong. I hear what he's saying on certain things, okay? Like, I hear what he's saying about, like, hey, you can't just suddenly, be taking all of their goods and they don't take any of ours. I see those things. I get that. But at the same time, you can't tell me that as soon as you shook hands with the leader of China, you can't literally say, oh yeah, now we're making money. I'm about to give you guys $2,000 right now. First off, that's not it's whatever. Okay. But at the same time, it's like, it doesn't happen that quick. Like, where are the shipments of goods then sent out? You just shook hands with them, with the leader of China just a little bit ago. This wasn't like 6 months ago. This wasn't a year ago. And now we're seeing the benefits of the profit, right? We're not seeing that right now. So again, like, we have to sit and wait to see if those things are going to be good, right? Like, let's be real. We would be seeing that by now if this was a year ago or more. So again, for me, it's like, all right, I'll believe it when I see it. But for me, I feel like it's just one big fugazi. It's just one big act. Hey guys, look at what we're doing. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm about to do. We're doing all these things. He keeps saying again, oh, the country is hotter than it's been ever. Are we sure about that? Are we absolutely sure about that? There is no actual factual proof of that right now. It's just being said, and we're just supposed to believe it. Hold on. I got something. And it just made me remember this. And yes, I know it's coming from a platform that a lot of guys don't like, a lot of y'all don't like, but at the same time, we have got to talk about this, because again, it does make you, it makes me wonder. Okay. It makes me wonder. And here's the other thing too. I haven't gotten a chance to actually see the Trump's full interview yet. And I just don't know where to get it. I don't know where to find it. That's one thing I'm trying to find. Trump's full interview with Fox News, because I heard that they just basically were just licking his butthole. Okay, full on nose so deep, far up his own butthole. You couldn't tell where he began and where they ended. Okay, like, just really bad, right? But I haven't seen the full interview yet. But they do. They do talk about that here in this piece that I'm going to show you here, and again, here in a second. But here it is. Yeah, This is a fugazi. And Holly, I agree. We need to be worrying about us as Americans. We need to be worrying, like Trump needs to be worrying about what's going on over here, man. There's a lot going on over here, man. He needs to be focused on that, but he's not focused on that. He's Fugazi Christ. He is literally losing, like he's literally going and losing complete focus and just super focused on things that honestly, things that honestly like would be great if everything was on point here. Like would be fine if everything was on point over here, you know? And no, I'm not sitting here to hold on, because some of y'all are gonna be like, wait, America first? Are you America first? Hold on. We haven't even had that discussion yet. Okay. So time out. But what I'm saying is, as far as us, as far as Americans go, we are going through some really bad times right now. He needs to be focused on those things here and not these foreign things that are going on, these foreign dealings. But here's the thing. I get that, you know, he's got to do that part too, to a certain extent. But when everything hits the fan at home, you need to go home and figure out what's going on at home so that you can go back out from your home and continue doing your thing. And right now, mama and the kids, woo, they not happy with you, man. And they want you home to figure these things out and get the family in order. Okay? And that's not happening right now. You realize that he said in an interview a long time ago, he put out some, like he was passing judgment, basically saying like, the government shutdown, if there's ever a government shutdown, that is an extension and a reflection on the leader himself. That is a reflection on the president himself. He said it himself, his own words in an interview. I don't have the clip. I'm just spouting from what I remember. But he said that is a full-on reflection on him, because he does not have order. He does not have control. And now you got 40 days. More than 40 days of this shutdown. More than 40 days of this shutdown. And he's off in other places, shaking hands and kissing babies in other countries, rather than going, we need to figure out what's going on over here too. We need to be over here to figure out what's going on here too. You know, as they say, daddy, they've been calling him, which is weird. Okay. But daddy left the house. Daddy left to go get cigarettes, some menthols down the street at the local gas station, and he ain't returned yet until just now, until months later. And we're all like, daddy, where you been? You said you were going to be right back. So, shoot, you went a far way for those menthols, man. He needs to be focused over here. Long story short, there needs to be a focus going on here. Real talk. And there isn't. And yes, he should be focused on what's going on with the Americans, with his country. Not throwing balls. Let me play a little bit of this. But okay, I know. Y'all are going to be like, oh, God, it's CNN. Hold on. Because the person that was asking these questions, I thought were very good questions. I listen to everything, guys. All right. I listen to the likes of Candace Owens from time to time, when it matters. And then I listen to Fox News, CNN, everything. I listen to everything. Okay. Because I want to form my own opinion. I just thought this was a very interesting clip. So let's play it. I know some of y'all getting your fee-fees about what medium, what media outlet I'm using. It is what it is. This is my show. Okay. But I think this is a very good point. Okay. Yeah. Popped in ball. No, we're not popping no balls. No, that's weird. We ain't popping no balls. Okay. Classic. We ain't popping. We ain't popping no balls. Do you understand? No balls.
Why are people saying they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had.
That was President Trump downplaying concerns about the economy tonight, as Americans have been struggling with the cost of groceries, which in September were 1.4% higher than they were when President Trump took office back in January. Here's what the White House National Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett said when I pressed him on where this data that the White House is relying on is coming from today. When the president says that grocery prices are down, what numbers is he basing that off, given that's not true, and even Marjorie Taylor Greene has acknowledged that it's not accurate?
Right. Well, I guess the question, inflation is down. It's one of those things that very often when people talk about economics, they slip derivatives, as we say. And so the point is that inflation is way down. It averaged 5% under Joe Biden. It's running at about 2.5% right now. And the thing, though, is that people's purchasing power dropped by more than $3,000 because of the inflation of the last 4 years. It's up by about $1,200 this year. And so purchasing power is improving, but we haven't closed the entire gap, and that's why people still feel the pain of the higher prices.
Grocery prices.
So it's not done yet. The gap is still there. Hasn't closed yet. Yeah, he's sitting here saying, we out here winning. The economy's doing it. It's the greatest. It's the greatest it's ever been. Like, what? That hurts my throat so bad. But you know what I'm saying? Come on now. Again, this is the reason why I went over to this platform and heard this question. And I was like, no, this is a good question. Let me hear what she got to say. Because you can't be sitting here saying, oh, it's the greatest the economy has ever been if the gap hasn't even been closed yet. If things haven't really changed that drastically yet. He's saying it drastically changed, and it has not, y'all. It has not, but let's continue. Let her cook.
Prices are up.
Well, not everything. I mean, egg prices are down. We used to talk a lot about those. In fact, it was your first question here at the White House. Wait, why haven't you covered the lower egg prices?
About household prices, we certainly have covered that. Energy as well, but grocery prices are up about 1.4% since Trump took office.
Right, which is a big decline in the rate of inflation
but the
of
president
grocery
is saying
prices.
that they're down and they're up.
See what I'm saying? He's saying that they're down, but they're still up. Yo, come on. And you're hearing it from the man himself right here. So yeah, they haven't gone down, but they're still up. Like, hold on, let me roll that back just for a second. She's just trying to clarify. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with her trying to clarify that she's not being an evildoer. She ain't being some damn leftist. She just is trying to do her damn job. Okay, that's called journalism. She's trying to get the truth and get the facts instead of him going up on a microphone saying something that isn't true.
Cover that. Energy as well, but grocery prices are up about 1.4% since Trump took office.
Right, which is a big decline in the rate of inflation
but the
of
president
grocery
is saying
prices.
that they're down and they're up.
Inflation is down, is what he means.
To be
Okay.
clear, inflation is far below the crisis level of 9%, that rate that it hit during the summer of 2022. Inflation has been on the rise again, though, lately, and prices rose 3% in September over the last 12 months. That's the fastest pace since January, and inflation is not virtually non-existent, as the president has stated multiple times. Tonight, my political sources are Van Jones, who is a former Obama administration official, and David Urban, who is a former Trump campaign advisor. And so, David, obviously, I think one question people have is how the president addresses something that he ran on and pledged to take care of when he was in office. But how does he address something if he keeps saying it's not even an issue?
Yeah, Caitlin, well, I think it's definitional for as you had that little back and forth with Kevin Hassett there. It's how you look at things, right? Whether inflation is down.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm sorry, I can't help it. But does Van Jones right now look like he is about to tell a Christmas story about like chocolate elves or something? Why does he look like? I'm sorry. Does he not look like he's about to tell a Christmas story? Does he not? You know, it's like, ew, let me tell you a story about Kris Kringle. You know, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know what, is that a vest? Is that a shirt? Is that a shirt and a vest? What is he wearing his PJs underneath the vest? Like, I'm sorry. It's the glasses too, and it's the smirk on his face. You know what I mean? It's like, yes, it's Christmas time. You know? Is anyone okay? I'm alone. I'm just alone. Let me roll that back. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to take y'all out. I didn't mean to take y'all out. Oh my God. Okay. I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, Caitlin, well, I think it's definitional for as you had that little back and forth with Kevin Hassett there. It's how you look at things, right? Whether inflation is down, prices are slightly down, real purchasing power maybe up a bit. But what really matters, as Van knows from sitting next to me on those nights when Democrats lose, is that how American people feel at home. How do the people feel at home who are sitting around their kitchen table with their checkbooks? How do people feel when they're checking out of the grocery store? That's what matters. Poll numbers don't matter. Those numbers that matter are how Americans feel. And so if they're told that real purchasing power is growing and inflation is down, but yet they feel differently, that's the most important thing. And Republicans need to pay attention to that because Democrats have gotten spanked on it time and time again. Republicans were the beneficiaries. And we got to be paying attention to it as we move into 26 and surely 28. Otherwise, Democrats will steal that issue of affordability right from under our noses.
Well, Van, I wonder what you make of that. And also the president now saying that he's going to send these $2,000 checks to Americans from tariffs that they've collected. He said a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone. Erica York, who is the vice president of the federal tax policy, the Tax Foundation, said if the president sent $2,000 checks to the 150 million people who make less than $100,000, it would cost $300 billion, even though the tariffs are only projected to raise about 217 annually.
Look, he's got to do something. I'm not going to turn down the check if it gets to me, and no American will. But why is he talking about this stuff? It's because he looks terrible right now. Right now, you've got Americans who are suffering, and for him he's playing this very badly. To say that Americans are just making this up, people are hurting and uncertain economically right now. And if you look at him, what's he doing? He's gallivanting all around the world trying to get a Nobel Peace Prize. He's tearing up the White House to put in gold toilets. He's enriching himself with crypto dollars. And he's hanging out with trillionaires who want to basically use technology to take everybody's jobs and give people jobs to robots and AIs. This does not look like the working class friend president that he ran as. And if somebody doesn't pull his coat and tell him, dude, you look terrible, and the stuff you're saying right now makes no sense to most people, he's going to hand us this issue. I hope he stays exactly where he is. Now, if he wants to send me a check, I'll take it. I'm not mad about that. But the reason that he's talking about this is because he's got to find some economic populism to get back to, because for the past year, the economic populist dude was gone, and the global globetrotter trillionaire friend was hanging out in the White House, tearing it up.
Yeah,
He's not wrong. Okay. You know, somebody just said Mr. Van Rogers, okay, is not wrong. I mean, he clearly is doing this to, doing the $2,000 check to try to entice people, to get people excited, to get people going, oh, I love me some Trump. Trump is the bomb. Trump. He's giving me money. When in actuality, it could be a bad turnout for the economy. It could be bad. It may have some sort of reaction later on. Real talk. Taking $2,000 from him now, we may have to pay for it later. So again, is it the right thing to do right now? I say no. And the other thing too is, now that he's put it out here, for a fact everybody's going to be holding him to it now. He can't go back on it now. You realize that, right? He can't go back on that. Trump can't go back on that whole conversation now. He can't do what he did with the Epstein files. He can't just sit there and go, we're going to drain the swamp. That's what we're going to do. We're going to drain the swamp. We're going to drain it. We're going to drain the swamp. And then suddenly go, nope, we're not going to give you that. We're not going to do that anymore. I mean, he's done it before. You would hope that he wouldn't do it again. Because fool me once, shame on. Well, if I get fooled, you can't get fooled again. Okay? So again, it would be bad. Very, very bad. I'm not going to play that whole clip because it's a much longer clip, but you get what I'm saying here. I need to find time to watch that the interview that he had. Okay, real talk. Again, Janobi, thank you so much. The house chatter is that it may not pass now. Now, here's the thing. We already talked about it from the BBC, and there is a good possibility that it won't. There's a possibility. But I don't think it will. I don't think that it won't. I think it will pass. I really do think it will pass. There needs to be more Marjorie Taylor Greens saying hail to the nah, but there needs to be more Marjorie Taylor Greens. It can't just be one. And then all the Democrats have to stay on the side of hell nah. Keep the government shut down until this thing is figured out so that people don't get screwed, bumped up the booty hole financially because of their damn health care. That's a huge concern, and it should be a huge concern to all of y'all. Because again, you're looking at it like the ones that are sitting there going, oh, like, because I'm not looking at as a left or as a right. I'm looking at it as a person that lives in this country and that lives paycheck to paycheck too, just like any other person. Okay, I'm not driving around Rolls Royces and and all that stuff. Okay, flying in PJs, etc. All right, I'm a hard working individual, just like any of y'all. All right, just like all y'all out there. And the thing that concerns me is that healthcare will go straight through the roof to the point where I can't afford it either anymore too. This should concern all of us. This should not be a situation where it's ha ha ha, look at the left, you look like dumbasses because now the Republicans got what they want. You realize that by anybody who has any type of specific bias to this situation solely because it's just team Trump or die, you realize that soon you're going to get bumped up the booty hole too, because you're going to be spending the same amount of money like the left are paying if these benefit, if the healthcare and these premiums change. People need to realize that this is not a partisan situation. This is not red versus blue. It's not blouses versus shirts. You see what I'm saying? It's not that anymore. It's, do you want to spend crap tons of money or no? That has nothing to do on whether you voted for him or voted for somebody else. So the ones that are sitting there like literally running around doing cartwheels and being all excited about how the government shutdown is basically the equivalent of Trump won. They are going to realize really soon that they're going to get screwed here too. This is affecting every American. It does not matter what side of the political aisle you stand on. At the end of the day, healthcare is not going to be asking you, wait a second, you MAGA or are you a damn Demi? And you're like, MAGA till I die. It's not gonna be like that. It's not gonna be like that. Oh, okay. So you get this, you keep the same premiums. All right, you get the same numbers. But if you voted for Kamala, yeah, we gonna take everything you got. It's not gonna be like that. They don't care. They won't care. Okay? This is the same people that don't care if you know, these are the same companies that don't care if you are, how much money you have in the bank, whether or not you have heart disease or not. Doesn't matter. They don't care or how long you are needing anesthesia, okay, to go under. They will charge you more for those things. They don't care. They're not going to sit there and go, oh, you're battling cancer? Oh, poor soul. Are you MAGA or are you a damn Demi? If you say you're MAGA, if you say MAGA till you die, we'll give you more. We'll drop the prices on those cancer treatments. This is, you MAGA or are you a damn Demi? Like literally, that's not going to happen. It'll be a wash blanket. Okay, it'll be a blanketing wash over everything, and everyone will be screwed. That's it. And what sucks is that the haves are going to have more benefits and more privilege and more opportunities to survive than the have-nots. And that is a huge freaking problem. And that has nothing to do with whether you are Republican or Democrat. Has nothing to do with that. Nothing. You fighting cancer, you break a leg, you have heart disease, you need to do some emergency surgery. They're not going to stop and ask if you red or blue. They don't care. They will take your money, just like what happened with this SNAP benefits thing that's going on. Think about it for a second, guys. There are people standing in line right now that are MAGA, 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 and there are people that are hardcore lefty, 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 lefty. They're all in the same mother-loving line. They're all going through the same thing. They're all starving. I'm just saying, it's a wake-up call. This is bad. We all need to realize that. This is beyond who you voted for. This is beyond who you stand for. This is about the people, us, all of us, and what could happen in the next few months now. There needs to be something better out here, period. There needs to be something better out here for all of us. We are working way too hard out here in this country. We are working so hard just to keep food on the table and the roof over our heads. We need something better. And then imagine if this thing passes and we all of us have to pay the same types of premiums. We won't be able to afford it. We won't. Like I said, we won't. But again, the haves will be fine. The have-nots will be screwed. And that is a huge problem. And those have-nots is everybody. It is. So again, that's a huge concern of mine, y'all. That is very much a huge, huge concern. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you are on. Okay? The fact that they shut things down and then now we are in this situation, it's messed up. It was a waste of time, in my personal opinion. They might as well just have said, fine, we'll just do the thing and just let it be what it is and let the people be pissed off in these streets. Okay? Because that 40 days of waiting around was nothing. Was nothing. All we got was an extension so far and a verbal promise. That's it. It's not even on the bill. It's not even in the agreement that they are voting for right now as we speak on whether or not they're going to circle back and have this conversation again. Are we to trust any party right now with that kind of power? I'll answer that for you right now. Hell to the no. Again, like I said, guys, we all need to think more universally rather than singularly, if that makes any sense. We need to start looking at the bigger picture. That's what I'm trying to say, rather than just that one small detail. Because at the end of the day, it's the bigger picture that we are all in, and we're all going to get screwed over if things don't get right here. I hope that they do. But at the same time, don't believe everything you hear from certain entities. Start asking the questions and always stay curious. That's the only thing we can do. It's crazy, y'all. Okay? So, anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all. It really means a lot. I may be on a little bit later on tonight because there are some other stuff that we need to talk about. And I missed yesterday, so I'm trying to do as much catch up as I can. All right? Yeah, like I said, don't focus on just that little piece of puzzle. That little piece of puzzle. Don't only just focus on that. Look at the whole puzzle. Because it's all connected, man. It's all connected. Just saying. Think about it. All right. But anyway, guys, it is time to get going. I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon. So do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what to do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, do me the solid. Don't forget to follow. Okay? Follow on all those platforms. Oh, also, I'm going to say this too. Just a quick reminder. All right. Shameless plug. All right. But real quick, I do have this GoFundMe that I am trying to put together. Okay. I'm trying to raise about a little over $2,000. We're almost there. All right. We are I would love to get into the 90s. All right. We are so freaking close. We are I am $340 away from achieving the goal. That's it. I just need $340 more to get to that goal. Any little bit helps. Okay. If you have a little bit to spare, that'll be greatly appreciated. I know we're all working hard out here, but you can go to the link that's pinned at the top of the chat. It's also in the description box down below. Support if you can. That'll be greatly, greatly appreciated. Literally, I am dollars away, okay, from the goal. All right. So support if you can. That'd be greatly appreciated. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel. Go check out the Pascal Show clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe to those channels. Okay. There's been a lot of updates on the Pascal Show clips as of late. Okay. Hit that join button down below. Oh, by the way, hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. Make sure you hit that join button down below. Sorry for repeating it again, but I'm going to say it again. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Support if you can. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Anyway, guys, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. I'll be talking to you guys in a few hours. I'll be back on. It's going to be a late night show, but we'll be back on to talk about more things that are popping off, okay? But anyway, guys, it's time to get going. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.